been a while. But just like last year, I want to recap every game that I have played in 2025, and I want to talk about games I intend on playing in 2026, as well as revisiting my top 60 now. I've already revised it and added to it, so it won't be that long. It's just gonna be like, oh, there you go. I went back and I looked at the video from last year, and I completed or played 28 games. As you can see on Tier Maker, I put in 45 files. So, now you may be wondering, how the hell did you have the time to play almost twice as many games? I was unemployed for most of the year. So, I had a lot of time on my hands, and also, I want to be fair to myself, a lot of the games that are on here, like Peggle and Fly Night, I beat in a single sitting, like 3-4 hours or less. Some of these games I also have not actually finished, but since I played them, I wanted to add them. So it looks like a lot more, but realistically I think it's probably about equivalent to... definitely not equivalent. I've played more, but it's not that bad. I'm not that cooked. I have a life. Anyways, let's just do it. Okay, so the first game that I played this year, and you can tell this is not my first take of the video because I already erased the S tier. First game I played this year in January of 2025 was Twilight Princess, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. If we pull up my old video here, you'll see in the part where I talk about games I want to play next, I was thinking I want to play Twilight Princess or Resident Evil 3, and I chose Twilight Princess. You will also notice Resident Evil 3 is not here. My bad. I just didn't get around to it. But yeah, alright, let's scoot Twilight Princess up to where it was before I decided to restart. And let's give it the name that I already had it as. Genuinely Genuinely fantastic. Let's see, I will remember it forever. We'll think about it tons. How about? Genuinely, like... in terms of its quality as a Zelda game, I think it's right up there, like, probably number 1 or 2 in my head with Majora's Mask. I think, narrative-wise, it was fantastic. Dungeon-wise, it had some of the best dungeons in the series, which I think any Zelda game should strive to have good dungeons. If you don't have good dungeons as a Zelda game, what are you doing, man? That's why I don't really like Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm not as fond of Breath of the Wild as most people are, because the dungeons are really bad. But dungeons like the Goron Mines, or Arbiter's Grounds, or City in the Sky are just so fantastic, and their music, the music throughout the whole game, I should be more specific, is also just really, really damn good. I'm a big fan of the way that the game is paced. It's a very linear Zelda game. Like in terms of how most Zelda games flow, it's kind of the same, where you go to the new area, you find the dungeon, you do the dungeon, and then after the dungeon, there might be some new side quests for you to do that get you like pieces of heart, or like with the dungeon items, you go find pieces of heart that were like, oh, I can do that now. And then you rinse and repeat. Twilight Princess is kind of the same thing. But it definitely, to me, at least in my, like, head, feels the most linear compared to Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask. Especially Majora's Mask. Which I don't have a big problem with. I like linear games. I guess it was just more linear than I was even ready for. And I think at times, while I was playing it, I definitely thought, well, I kind of wish I had more to do before I just do the next dungeon. Because especially near the end game, when you're in the late game, like around City in the Sky, actually, there really isn't much to do. You kind of just, you beat the dungeon, and then you'll be able to get like 2 heart pieces with the dungeon item that you got, and then it's like, okay, well, I guess I'll go do the next thing. That's kind of it. Which is, like, again, I was able to beat it so fast because it was so quickly paced. Which, yeah, is fine. It was just different, and I think I do prefer it when my Zelda games are a little more open, but I think that's my own preference. I don't think it comes as a detriment to this game. The one thing I will say bothered me throughout the game is the money. Because for some reason, the game just gives you so much money. So much! The dungeons, every dungeon has at least like 3 treasure chests that just give you like 50 rupees, 100 rupees, 200 rupees, or whatever, right? So many! And the game does not have enough... It doesn't provide you with enough things to spend that money on to keep you broke. By the time you have the Master Sword, you are constantly rich, constantly rolling in it. And the biggest problem with this game is that when you have when your rupee count is maxed out, your wallet is full, you can't pick up rupees from chests, which means when you're looking at a dungeon map, the compass will show that you have unobtained chests. Multiple times while I was doing dungeons, especially if I got up and did something and then came back, even very briefly, I would look at the map, it's like, oh shit, I missed a chest, I should go see what it was, just in case. And then it was rupees that I can't pick up. And then I would forget about it, and then I'd go back, and it was rupees I can't pick up. And I always kind of thought to myself, like, well, maybe I will be broke at some point, and then I can go back to these dungeons and get those rupees, and they'll be like my break-the-bank kind of emergency thing. Nope. I just never use them. But whatever, right? Other than that, I think this game is incredible, fantastic. I think it has one of the best stories in Zelda. I think it introduced the best supporting character in the series, Midna. Midna is goated. Oh my goodness, I love Midna. She's so fun. She's fantastic. Her character is just I don't know. I love it. I like the wolf mechanic. I like when okay, so like Arbiter's Grounds. I like Arbiter's Grounds so much because it weaves the wolf and human link as like you swap between them and do whole dungeons like that. And that's why I love it so much. But at the same time, it was kind of the only dungeon that really did that a lot after you were able to transform at will, which I thought was kind of odd. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of wish more dungeons did that, but whatever. I think another small critique I have of Twilight Princess is that the dungeon items are very self-contained, like only useful in the dungeon that you got it in. There's not a lot of uses, especially for items like the spinning top. You never use that outside of Arbiter's Grounds. You never use the ball and chain anywhere else outside of Snow Peak, you know. But aesthetically, again, spinning top's fucking dope. I love the spinning top. Even though it sucks outside of the dungeon, I appreciate it. I wish sometimes like those items would still be involved in puzzles in future dungeons, but they never really are. Like the Gale Boomerang, God, you kind of forget that you have that by the time you're beating the game. It is so obsolete, and just no one really talks about it. Well, no one would talk about it, but like no one really nothing really asks you to use it. So yeah, I don't know. It is. I think that just falls back on the fact that it's extremely linear, and yeah, again, that's okay. But otherwise, fantastic game. We'll be seeing it again later in my top 60 because I enjoyed it that much. Let's move on. Next, Marvel Rivals hit the scene in February, and all of my friends hopped on it and played it, and we played it a lot. At least, I mean, some of my friends still do. Me specifically, I played it about until kind of like mid-season when they added The Thing and the Human Torch. And then after I had played as The Thing a lot and he wasn't very good, I kind of just tapped out, and I've uninstalled it since because I'm not really interested in going back to it. But what was interesting about Marvel Rivals for me is it's the first time I've ever played a hero shooter. I've never played Overwatch or anything like that. or I don't know, like Call of Duty, Battlefield. I don't really, it was just never my cup of tea. And so Marvel Rivals interested me because, well, I loosely like Marvel, you know? I'm not tapped into reading the comics very much or anything, but I see the characters, I've seen the movies, and I'm like I loosely follow what's being published these days, just out of curiosity. So I like Marvel. I think it's okay for me to say that. I like Marvel. Maybe I'm not a Marvel fan, but I like it. And that was already enticing enough as like kind of a gateway for me getting in there. I was like, it seems kind of cool. It looks kind of nice. Because a lot of the character designs that they've made for Marvel Rivals look fantastic. Alternatively, there's a lot of character designs in Marvel Rivals that look awful. Punisher, I hate. The base Captain America skin, ugly. The Daredevil, when they added Daredevil, I hated the way he looked. Why is he so big and tanky? He should be slim. He should be a skinny guy. He should, like, he's slim fit. He's an acrobatic, I don't know, whatever. There's some character designs that I really don't like, but that's not that big of a deal. Anyways, I wasn't really expecting to like it when I went into it. I forget how I started playing it. I forget if it was one of my buddies that talked me into it and just like, come on, just come play with us, like we'd have a full squad kind of thing. Or if no, I'm loosely remembering it. I think it was a situation where somebody was like, you won't, and then I was like, fuck you, watch this, and then I did. But that said, I liked it. When I was new and I was playing a lot, I was having fun. Naturally, I think in the nature of a hero shooter, eventually there were some times where I got mad, like I got upset because I was losing or whatever. You know, you get into the competition of it, and I'm a very competitive person. But I had a lot of fun. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. Even though I admit, like, nowadays my interest has kind of waned completely. I don't really, like, I'm okay. But for the time that I played it, I had a lot of fun. Mostly I would main Bucky as DPS. I would occasionally play Adam Warlock as support, but I was terrible with him. And then when Thing came out, he was my full main on tank. I loved playing as the Thing, but they released him in a flying character meta. Like, Ultron was coming out next. They just added the Human Torch, and Iron Man was already good, like, and the Thing had no tools as a tank to stop flying characters, so it was just like, I can't help. I'm sorry, guys, I suck. But I had a lot of fun playing as the Thing. I love slamming and pushing people and, I don't know, imitating his voice. You know, shit like that. It was fun. And it was also like a bonding experience with my friends. It was something that, 4 of us could sit down and play together. And it was free. So it was really easy to just be like, hey, you guys want to hop on Marvel Rivals? Yeah, it's right on top of Marvel Rivals. And, we do that. And so I think of it very fondly. How do I rate this tier? Tried a new thing and was pleasantly surprised, even. Yeah, I like that. Tried a new thing and was pleasantly surprised. That's Marvel Rivals for me. I appreciate it. I appreciate what it is, what it's doing. I like the competitive. Well, I don't keep up with the competitive scene, but I like that it's as big as it is. It feels nice. Yeah, anyways, so next up, after Twilight Princess, the next full game I completed was Resident Evil 7. This was also on my want to play list from last year. Look, there it is. What did I write about it? When I feel like beauty, I felt like it pretty soon. I did this in February as well. I did this in February, I think. Sorry, I'm at a loss for words for where I want to start with this. It's a very good game. It's good. I think it does live up to the hype of kind of being that Resident Evil that saved the Resident Evil games because it's actually scary and went back to its roots. I can agree with that. simultaneously, I think it suffers the hardest out of a problem that I think, at least out of all the Resident Evil games that I've played, I think it suffers the hardest out of a problem that I've noticed in all of them, where it really struggles late game. Every Resident Evil game that I played really struggles late game in terms of, like, I guess, spooky atmosphere, or in terms of just, like, frustrating difficulty spike, or, you know, like, just not interesting environment to explore in. I'm sorry, like, I don't know, the labs in Resident Evil 2 and 3, they don't do it for me as final areas. Like, they're nice, but I don't know, aesthetically, I just enjoy being in the city so much more. And the sewer doesn't really do it for me either. I hate being in the sewer, but I don't know, the lab, and I think Resident Evil 7 suffers the worst from this, because the late game is the Mia boat section, and then the mines, and it's just, oh god. The Mia boat section is tedious, slow, and difficult because you play as Mia and have nothing. You have none of your weapons that Ethan had. You have to find it, you have to stealth around the monsters in a game without fantastic stealth mechanics, and then, you know, when you do have weapons, they're just kind of okay at dealing with monsters. It just, and the boat, when you need to, I think I remember there's like a part where there's a couple different floors you need to go on to find specific items to solve a puzzle or whatever, and it all just kind of looks the same every floor, so it's easy to get lost. And it's just like, here, sorry, I'm talking about Resident Evil 7, you can't even see it, my bad. But it's just like, I don't know, it was not a very fun section of the game, and I hated the mines because they look boring. It's just, you're underground in a cave, and it's all like a kind of beigey yellow, and it's dark, and the game, you know, seeing as it's like the last stretch of the game before the final boss, they just throw everything at you. Like, there's like a section where you fight two of the really big, like, moldy guys, and it's just frustrating and hard, and I don't know, it just kind of lost me in that last little bit there. I wasn't tapped into it. However, everything before the boat section, holy moly. From the house, to the swamp, to Lucas's little, like, shack or whatever. Oh my goodness. Especially, I think, like, particularly that first few hours of the game, from, like, the house to the audio, or like the recording of the guys breaking into the house, and that shows you where the key is, or the secret entrance or whatever, to escaping kind of the house and getting out into the open field. Genuinely horrifying. I was actually scared. And I remember I was streaming it on Discord for my friends, and one of my buddies, Jacob, he just used one of like the Discord soundboard effects while I was walking around in silence, and it genuinely jump scared me because I was that tense. Yeah, just fantastic. I will say, in terms of like gameplay styles for Resident Evil, I'm not big on first person. I think it works for atmosphere and being scared. But when it came to combat, the first person didn't feel very good. And that's a complaint I have more for Resident Evil 8 than 7. Because 8 has way more combat. Hold on. I gotta... My bad. But I think, like... Where is Resident Evil? I'll put it there. Good. I don't have much to say about Resident Evil 7. I think it was just a solid, good game that did kind of leave a slight bitter taste in my mouth because of the poor finish, but what can you do? Because again, the first 2/3 of the game, so good, so worth it. I love the characters. I love Jack. I actually did like Ethan a lot. Lucas, I think, as far as like annoying characters go, was effective at being annoying, but not so annoying that I was sick of hearing him talk. Like, he was entertaining. Yeah, I was pleased. Like, it felt good to finish it. It wasn't a very long game. And then I think shortly after that, I booted up Resident Evil 8. Now, I will say I have not finished Resident Evil 8. In fact, I'm hardly very far in it. I'm like halfway through the Dimitrescu castle. I'm not far at all. I wasn't really liking it. I don't know. I think like what I said earlier about the Resident Evil 7 first-person combat not being great, I think that's still true in Resident Evil 8. Like, it's just not... It just doesn't feel very good to shoot or fight enemies. And especially because everything feels, at least from what I remember, it feels really tanky. And so, it's not very cinematic when you're in first person and you're just holding the gun. And here, hold on. I'll do a visual demonstration for you. Just bear with me for 2 seconds. Okay, so here's your gun. This is what you're seeing. I'm the monster, and you're just boom, 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 and then I'm getting closer, but you back up. Boom, 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 and I'm dead. And that, it just felt like that a lot, and I don't know. And it doesn't have, for being probably, no, that's not true. But for being, I was about to say something stupid. Don't worry about it. I don't know, but God, what am I trying to say? For being more action oriented, it's just not very satisfying in the action department. And simultaneously being more action-oriented, it kind of fumbles in the scare department. Like, I am not scared when walking through... I was not scared when walking through Dimitrescu Castle. I was not scared of much of anything. I was, like... I guess I was anxious whenever, like, Lady Dimitrescu pulled up out of nowhere and tried fucking me up, but I would just go hide in a save room until she walked away, right? I know, and there's not much this game can do to surprise me because I watched like playthroughs when it was new, and I'm getting into it very late. And I know there's like the dollhouse segment, or not, I don't know if dollhouse is the right word, but the doll lady, and she makes you do the scary puzzle, and you have no equipment, and the weird big flesh baby chases you around. Good scary. But that's kind of it. Then you do the swamp, and I don't know, when I was watching it, I didn't really care about the swamp, and then you do okay. Then you do the factory with, what's his name? Gosh, he has the funny voice. I like him. I'm blanking. Oh, I'm gonna look it up. I really want to know. I really want to know. Resident Evil 8 magnet guy. His name was name was Carl? Oh, he was Carl Heisenberg. I think people just call him Heisenberg. He's fun. I think as a character, he's very fun. I like him a lot. I hate the factory area aesthetically. Like watching, I know watching is not the same as playing, but watching it was boring as fuck. So, I don't know. I gotta get to it eventually, but in terms of where I was and what I experienced, it just wasn't doing it for me. It wasn't hooking me. I was getting frustrated more often than not, and yeah, I don't know. It just I wasn't having much fun. I'm gonna do D tier, unfinished, but I do want to finish it. Unfinished, but I will regardless of how I feel. This is, I'm so bad at these. Unfinished, but deserves a second shot. Shot. There we go. Unfinished, but deserves a second shot. Because maybe I'm just wrong, right? Maybe I was just in a bad headspace when I was playing it and I need to try again. I don't know, right? So that is what I will do. I will say the opening of that game is funny as hell. If you've never seen like the first 20, 15 even minutes of that game, oh my god, it's hilarious. Chris Redfield just busts in and just there goes your wife, dog. He just slimes out your wife. Maybe that's not funny, but to me, I don't know. You just gotta see. You gotta see it to believe it. I don't know. Anyways, that's kind of how I feel about Resident Evil 8. Not sold on it yet, but maybe sometime within the year I'll actually do it. Okay, next up we have this fun little indie game that released. When did that one release? I don't remember. Let me double check. Let's open my Steam page and take a look. Where's Zarya? Where's Zarya? Let's go to the store page. This came out on the 16th of August, 2023. I discovered this game, Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood, because I saw it on one of my friend's wish lists, and I gifted it to him. I remember now. I was doing a bit on Discord where I was like the most, I don't know, I was trying to prove myself as the world's most generous man or something, and I was like, here, I'll show it to you, and I swear it was funnier than this. You just had to be there. Anyways, it resulted in me going through one of my buddy's wish lists and seeing that game and buying it for him. That was a very jarring switch of the music. That caught me off guard. Sorry. And then I bought it for him, and then bit accomplished. People laughed. But while I was buying it for him, I was thinking to myself, like, damn, this shit look cool as hell. So, Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood it kind of markets itself as a deck building game where you build like a tarot card deck. You build a deck of tarot cards, and you'll have these conversations with people where you then, they'll ask for tarot readings, and the readings that you give them, right? Let's say, depending on how you built your deck, you will have certain options for readings. So a character can be like, I don't know, should I dye my hair blue, white, or red? And then you'll draw some cards, and depending on what cards you've made, you'll have the options to be like, dye your hair blue, or maybe you can dye their hair red, or maybe if you have a certain type of card with like the right amount of energy put into it, you'll have this other option like, fuck that, go bald, kind of thing. And then you get to choose what card is red. So if I chose the bald card, I would see that character later in the story, and they would be bald, because the readings that you gave them affected, had an actual effect on reality. It wasn't just a silly tarot reading. You were predicting their future. That was the gimmick. That was the main draw. And I gotta say, that is one of the coolest concepts for a video game I have heard in my entire life. That is so cool. And unfortunately, I think it missed the mark in a few departments. I don't know. It missed the mark in a few departments in terms of like realizing that potential. There were a couple cases where there were characters. Okay, well, one, me telling you that what you're doing is predicting the future. You're not giving people readings. That in the game is kind of touted as this like big giant plot twist, unexpected. But you as a player have known that's what the gimmick was the whole time. I didn't just spoil it for you. That is what you you realize what you're doing immediately. But the game, so you're in this witch covenant, right? And there's this big witch leader who exiled you. You're not friends with her. You are a witch in exile, and you're not friends with the leader. But eventually, like a third through the game, okay, I'm gonna actually get into spoilers now. So if you care, I'm sorry, But like a third through the game, she dies. And you have no agency over that. She just dies. But before that happens, she comes and talks to you and reveals this to you, right? She's like, there's something you don't know about the nature of your powers. This is why I exiled you, because you were dangerous. And your character, your player character reacts as like a, oh, what? Actually, I don't know if that's true at all, but it's definitely, it comes as more of a shock to them. But again, to you as a player, you are well aware that that's what you've been doing the whole time. It's not a surprise. It's just what you know. And so it kind of falls flat as like a story beat. Also because of that character that dies, earlier in the story, there are, let's say, three reoccurring supporting characters. One is a person that made a deal with the big evil demon guy, which your character has as well, so you have that common ground. Two of them are your, like, best friends, your witch best friends, who come and visit you every now and then. Now, one of these witch best friends sympathizes with you. They don't like the leader lady, and the other person is a big suck-up. She loves the leader lady. So, the person who is possessed, or who has made the deal with the big old demon, comes to you for help. And eventually, you kind of form this bond, assuming that you choose the right dialogue options. You kind of form this bond of like, oh yeah, I did too, like, this is our secret, well, what do we do, kind of thing. Can you help me unfuse with this demon? I don't really remember the specifics of it, this is a long time ago. It was like, can you help me unfuse with this demon, yada 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 yada. Then Suck-Up Friend comes and visits one day, and asks about, I don't remember specifically how the conversation happens, but generally she just asks about what you're doing to help, or why you're helping this demon-possessed lady, because she doesn't know she made a deal with the demon, because it's taboo in the witch world. And my dumbass, I told her the truth, because I was like, you're my friend, I can trust you. I told her what was going on, and she was like, this is crazy, I'm gonna go tell Witch Leader now. And I was like, oh, fuck, damn it, I have ruined everything. I'm going to get this I'm gonna get this demon person killed, probably, or exiled like me. I've ruined her life. I'm probably gonna hurt my relationship with my suck-up friend, because now they know that I deal in these taboo things. Oh no! I was genuinely, and this is very early in the game, I think, relatively, I was genuinely concerned. I was freaking out. I thought I fucked up so bad out of the choices that I made. And I was so worried and just anxiously waiting for when my suck-up friend, my rat friend, would go tell the leader, and then the leader died. And no consequences came from that action. I was not punished in any way at all. And it's not really discussed. Again, like, okay, so the result of me helping the demon lady, now that there were no consequences to that action, I guess I chose all the right dialogue options, and we were dating. They were, my player character and the demon lady, we were like a witch lesbian couple. And the only time that it's ever mentioned again that I totally almost got them ratted out was my witch girlfriend just being like, oh, I'm mad at, I think her name was Jasmine. I'm mad at Jasmine. I'm still mad at Jasmine for almost ratting on me. And that's it. And it's like, okay, thank God, I guess. But I shouldn't have gotten away with that. I should have been smarter. I should have recognized the dynamics between, the character relations there and made a smarter decision. But I got away with it scot-free. So that was kind of disappointing. And it just kind of got to a point where it felt like my tarot readings, I was making these cards and giving people what I thought was the best option for them, but it never really mattered that much. And that was really disappointing, because that's why I was there. There was another side character who showed up, and she was having a dilemma over falling in love with a human. Now, witches are immortal. They live forever, and so falling in love with a human is kind of this like, oh, you shouldn't really do that. Same thing. I told her, F the covenant, go date this human and run away together. And okay, actually, okay, so I told her that, and she'd gone, right? Then, later in the game, and I do not like that it did this, the last couple hours of the game turn into who's going to be the next witch leader. And you, your friends, you and your 2 witch best friends are all like, well, we should run. The last couple hours of the game, the last like half even, is you running a political campaign to either you yourself become the leader or make one of your friends become the leader. What? And during this portion of the game, you're so focused on, you run a campaign, you allocate people that are supporting your cause to go promote us over to the scholars, you send your big muscle lady to go talk about why we're a good leader to the miners or the harvesters. And it's at that point of the game, you don't really do tarot readings anymore. It just kind of disappears as a mechanic, and even when you do it, it doesn't really matter. Like, it has no bearing over the campaign most of the time. And it was just such an odd tonal shift that really disappointed me. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, right, so in terms of the campaign, I decided not to run because I didn't care. I didn't think it was gonna have such a bearing on the story. But out of the 2 best friends that are running, one of them had a policy where we cut all contact with humans. And genuinely, only because she had that policy did I choose the other friend, because the other friend had a different one where it was loose contact with humans. It was like giving them guidance when they need it to avoid wars and shit. But I decided to support that friend because I was still thinking about the other character who was dating a human. And I thought if I supported the other friend and cut all ties with humans, then that relationship for her would be ruined or taboo and she would be exiled or something. So I made that decision in hopes of helping that person. I never heard from that side character for the rest of the game. I didn't see them or even get a letter from them. So I don't know what happened to them. I don't know the relationship they had. And I was really disappointed because I chose my political campaign for them. I don't know. I don't know. Again, I don't know. For having such like a strong and enticing gimmick, it just fumbled the ball. And I think from what I understand, it was like a COVID game. So potentially development could have been rushed, or a lot of things changed, or there were just a lot of challenges. I think in a perfect world, this game had a little bit more time in the oven, and you take out the political campaign and you just make it this like character-driven, like reading thing. And I don't know, it'd be way better. But yeah, it just missed the mark for me. Whiffed. I don't know. I was really disappointed. I need a little sip of drink. I really yapped there. We're already 40 minutes into this. I've only talked about 5 games. Oh no. And I have a lot to say about a lot of these. Dear God. Okay. So, throughout the year, I finally completed Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Let's double check my hour count there. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It took me 84 hours to finish the game. When did I finish it? That was in August or July. I finished it in July. And I think it was another like very fantastic game. I think in terms of how it adapts the characters and world, I think specifically why I love the Final Fantasy VII remakes is because it's adapting the world of Final Fantasy VII in such a beautiful way, and it's so thrilling to see these locations realized in a more realistic and thought out way. Places like, especially like Costa del Sol, oh my god, I would love to live there. And it feels so immersive. They feel so, like real ass places to me. And the music, it has one of the best soundtracks I've heard in a video game. I think the character writing is overall, generally very fantastic. I think sometimes it gets a little weak. I think Cloud specifically can be a little weak sometimes, or just like people aren't questioning him enough. I think the party's letting his bullshit slide a little too much, and there's bullshit for sure. I think Tifa's a bit of a pushover sometimes, like a little too much. I know generally she's more timid, but sometimes it's just like, girl, you gotta stand up for yourself. But overall, like characters like Barrett, and I loved Red 13 or Nanaki or whatever. I thought Yuffie was nice. Just done really well. I think in terms of how it compares to the first remake, Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's better in every single way. I like Final Fantasy VII Remake, but I had a lot of problems with it. I think it's very much like a straight line walking simulator when you're getting place to place. I think the side quests are just hot garbage most of the time. And I think I played that game for about 40 hours. I think spending 40 hours in like steampunk, drab, dystopian Midgar kind of wears you down. And so it was just a breath of fresh air playing Rebirth and picking up in the open world and not being in Midgar. I love Midgar, I think it's sick, but oh my god, it feels good not to be in Midgar. And actually exploring all these other iconic locations like the Gold Saucer in like extreme detail. It's fantastic. They improved the side quests. I think like in terms of what you do in the side quests, mechanically they're still not very fun. However, what you get for doing them makes it worth it. You get every character in your party has like a relationship meter, and doing side quests, every character that isn't Cloud, I should be specific, in your party has like an appointed side quest. So they're like your kind of company while you do this side quest. So while you're working on the side quest, there will be like full-blown conversations between, say, like Cloud or Aerith, because there's like a flower picking side quest. And they'll have a full-blown conversation, and Aerith will be teaching Cloud about how to make a nice kind of flower arrangement. And it's thrilling, because if you like and enjoy who these characters are, for me, at least, once I like a certain piece of media, I guess, once I like a certain piece of media enough and am invested in the characters in it, there is nothing I eat up more than when you make those characters talk about nothing. When you make them talk about whatever. I love that. I'm so, like, I have been a big old Dragon Ball fan since I was a little boy, and there's nothing I love more in that goddamn series than when they do little bits of slice of life. When they just have normal ass conversations. That's what I love. And Final Fantasy VII Rebirth does that in a lot of the side quests, where they talk about not insignificant things, but they have conversations about things that you wouldn't really think of them to talk about, you know, in you know, whatever. And I was eating it up, so I did every side quest just for that, because I just wanted to hear that. It was great. I think all the main cast is written very well and adapted very faithfully, save for a couple times. However, I think a lot of the side cast, like extra characters, there's a couple that are nice, but oh man, there's a couple characters that are really fucking annoying. Oh, sorry, I'm drinking Diet Coke, I'm burping. And a couple characters that are really fucking annoying. I don't find Don Corneo funny. I wish they would just drop him. They make him, he's not a reoccurring character in the original Final Fantasy VII. They make Don Corneo a reoccurring character in Remake and Rebirth, and it's the most infuriating thing ever, because he's not funny, he's annoying, and usually when he's involved in the main story, it feels like filler. There's another character in the Corel like Wasteland Jail, like I think his name was Gus. He was kind of like the ringleader. He was really fucking annoying. Whenever a side quest involved Kyrie, I was tapped out. I don't find her entertaining either. Or those goddamn like 3 hooligan biker dudes or like criminals that they're in like 4 side quests, and eventually you reform them and then they unreform and are then leading a bigger team, and that's like funny and cool for them. Side characters are really bad. They're like really weak. And so it's just like sometimes it's difficult. I will say the one side character that I didn't like in Remake, I didn't like Johnny. I really didn't like Johnny in Remake. I was sick of whenever he showed up. But when he was in Rebirth, like trying to run his little hotel in Costa del Sol, I was with it. I liked Johnny. He was way more tolerable this time around. He was fun. But yeah, a lot of the side characters just really frustrated me. Chadley, God, why? Why is Chadley allowed to interact or talk with the party as much as he does? You are a little AI tool to get me like fight simulators and cool materia. Do not talk to my party when we're exploring, please. You have nothing interesting to say. I think the worst bit they did in this game, Chadley designs this like AI companion for himself, and it's like a gender bent version of him. I believe her name was Maya. I'm not even gonna fact check it. I think her name was Maya or something. And she specializes in like identifying types of fiends and enemies. And again, I'm pretty confident that I remember that it was specified that Chadley made her. But their dynamic is that Chadley finds her annoying and tells her to stop talking and be quiet, and will like literally like, because of their AI robots, he will like mute her while she's talking. It's like, bitch, you made her! Why would you make someone you find annoying? It's the most infuriating thing ever. Because, and it's infuriating too because Maya's not even annoying. It's literally only Chadley that's like being an ass to her. She's very tolerable to listen to. In fact, she's way more entertaining to listen to than Chadley is. So it's just like, what the fuck? Very frustrating. So, I don't know. It really is just like when the game is focused on the actual party members, oh, great stuff. But sometimes they just give way too much rope to characters that are insignificant. And it's really annoying. I do think the game suffers from a lot of like, the same with Remake. Rebirth also suffers from a lot of just like filler. Like it just feels like padding sometimes. I think overall the pacing is a lot better, but yeah, there's certain moments where the game just runs to a halt and wastes your time. Specifically, there's one chapter of the game where you play as Cait Sith alone, and he has this annoying, slow movement, and his gimmick is that you have to pick up and throw boxes with the Moogle and hit targets with it, and it's so slow and so frustrating. And Cait Sith is not a good battle member, at least in my experience. Cait Sith sucked. So whenever you got into a fight, it was frustrating. And he had a solo boss fight, which took me a couple tries because he was alone. And I just hated it. That was easily the worst part of the game. I was miserable. Simultaneously, I would say from Junon all the way to, let's see, from Junon to the Golden Saucer, that entire stretch of the game, that stretch of the game is some of like the best video game I've ever played in my life. It is so fun. Like the Junon parade into getting on the boat, right? Getting out of Junon, getting on the boat. I just remember something I should talk about. You get on the boat, you cruise over to Costa del Sol, you're in Costa del Sol, this groovy ass place, then you explore the field, you climb up Mount Corel, you're in Corel, Barrett's hometown, so he gets some nice character stuff. Then you go up to the Gold Saucer, and the Gold Saucer's the gold fucking saucer, man. That stretch of the game is so good. I was seated, I was sat, and I was listening. So it's very interesting how the game can simultaneously have some of the best stretch of video game I've ever played, and some of the worst. it kind of jerks you around like that sometimes. I don't know, but overall, it was just great. And in terms of fantastic side content, what I just cut myself off on earlier, Queen's Blood. They made an entire side card game that is so addicting and so fun. I am praying they make it like a mobile game in some capacity. Oh, it's so fun. Every time I made it to a new major area, I would beeline it for all the Queen's Blood players, and I would just play and play and play, and I loved it, and God, it was so good. And the music for it was fantastic too. Just prime stuff. But yeah, overall, I think it's a fantastic game. I think I'm excited for part 3. I also think, kind of in related to best stretch of game I've ever played, like the ending, the final few boss fights, and that whole ending segment with like Aerith and everything like that. Chef's kiss, fantastic stuff. What else? But yeah, just a genuinely very, very good game. I really hope they add the soundtrack on Spotify soon, because I need that. Yeah, I'm very proud of myself for completing it, for how long it was too. Yeah, I feel great about it. I'm gonna move on now. I'm just blabbering. Super Metroid was the next game I completed, I believe, and that's also going in genuinely fantastic. I mean, it's one of the best Metroid. I mean, well, I was gonna call it a Metroidvania. It invented that shit, kind of, not really, but it's like the cornerstone. Like, it's what do you say about Super Metroid at this point? Like, what can I say? I don't know if I can articulate why this is so good without like it's just something everyone has said at some point. But the reason why I finally decided to sit down and 100% complete the game, I love watching Super Metroid speedruns. Specifically, I watch Oats and Goats on YouTube, and he's a very good Super Metroid player, and I will watch him do his thing, and I think at a high level, it's just one of the most interesting games to watch, because it's cool. It's cool, particularly to see how perfected they mastered like the movement. And when I was playing it myself, like I contested. I don't contest. I don't know. I agreed to this, that the movement just feels so tight and so good and so responsive. It feels so fun to run around and jump around, especially when you get more and more upgrades. You get high jump, you get space jump, and you're just zooming and zooming. And once you get good at wall jumping, once you figure out how that works, it's like, oh, it all just comes together and makes this beautiful, beautiful speed game. And also no way. I'm so sorry. The music that I'm playing, it's just this like, oh, Pokemon games music thing. I think whoever made this playlist put in a Sylvagunna rip. It's The Lion Sleeps Tonight. The fools. Yeah, all the comments are talking. It was The Lion Sleeps Tonight. It was Sylvagunna. Oh my god. I'm sorry. That caught me off guard. What was I even saying? Right. Okay. And in the essence that it's a super it is a Super Metroid, but it's a Metroidvania game. The ways in which you're able on repeat playthroughs to get to late areas early or get upgrades early, addicting. That's why they're so replayable, and that's why they're so fun, is seeing how you can optimize your, like, with the knowledge of where things are. It's so fun to see how you can optimize the way in which you collect things and make yourself as strong as possible as early as possible. It's so good. And, you know, aesthetically, and the music and just everything about it just blends together and makes this perfect little game. Like, genuinely perfect. I don't think I really have any notes. It's just like, mwah, chef's kiss. Like, seriously. I truly think Super Metroid is probably a game everybody should play at least once, or try to play. It's just that good, man. Let's move on. Because I am already an hour in. We're gonna be here a while. Alright, Bayonetta! We're gonna need a new tier, I think. Kinda somewhere in between Rivals and Resident Evil 7. What color do we make it? Well, here, let's make you darker purple, and then make you the deep red, and then make you the darker orange, and you the lighter orange, the yellow, and then you light green, and then you dark green. So we are unfinished, but really deserves my time. Okay, so the reason that I played Bayonetta is because I liked the Devil May Cry game so much that I figured I would like Bayonetta. That's as complicated as it gets, and I mean, it was made by the same guy, so yeah, I liked it a lot. It has the same kind of over-the-top action cutscenes that just like glue your eyes to the screen and entertain you like a dumb baby with keys in your face. It simultaneously has like very interesting and intriguing characters. Like Bayonetta herself is I want to know more about her. I'm not very far in the game. I'd say maybe like a third, maybe? I don't know. But Bayonetta herself is a very interesting character, and I want to know more about her, and I'm rooting for her, because I think she is cool, but there's a depth to her. Like, there's something more about her that it's really drawing me in. And then in terms of gameplay, it's Devil May Cry. It's action, you know, action slasher, whatever it's called. There are so many combo routes. I think there's more combo routes than there is in like Devil May Cry 3, which is crazy. Like in terms of just like when you hit the button. I'm not thinking about like fucking slash canceling and whatever shit like that. I'm just thinking about like base tech that people didn't discover way later. I think there's so many combo strings that it's almost overwhelming. And there's so many moves that you can buy, but they're also stylish and so cool. I think particularly one of my favorites was one where I forget the input, but Bayonetta would literally like run. If I was running and then I hit a button, she would like slide on her knees and like strike a pose on her knees and like shoot her guns and spin around while she was sliding. I really liked that one. And there was a different move where she would do like a backflip and then teleport away and then teleport on top of an enemy and like land on them and crush them while hitting a superhero pose. I liked that one a lot too. And then it would do like a little like camera like I liked that. That was a fun one. The music, fantastic. I'm so mad that the Fly Me to the Moon mix that plays in kind of like the intro cutscene isn't on Spotify, because it bangs. Music is fantastic. I liked where the narrative was headed. I liked the side characters a lot. I liked Ronan. I think that was his name. Ronan, super sick. I like the parts where when you buy a new weapon from him, he has to go get it, and by fighting like a big demon for you, and so he's like, I'll be right back, and he disappears, and then he comes back and he's all like beaten and bloody, and he's like, there you go, but he's still trying to act tough. I don't know shit about John yet, but she seems cool. I think I fought her. I think I remember it being like, oh yeah, there was like a flashback boss fight with her in the church, and yes, there's cool witch powers, and you can run on walls in the moonlight. And so the church fight was really interesting because you could run up the walls and then run on the roof, and it kind of had this like illusion of like you were kind of in a spinning arena, but you just kept running around and fight. Oh, it was really cool. I really need to finish it. Like I don't remember what came up. Let me see the last time I played it. What happened the last time I played it? Bayonetta. It's up here. August 8th. What happened on August 8th? Let's sort my library by last played. What was around August that dragged me away? Oh, I'm way too far back. July... No... Oh my god, where is August? There it is. I see. I remember now. So Bayonetta was a victim of Silk Song. That's why I didn't finish it. So eventually I will go back and I will do that for real. That's really funny. Right, because I was employed. I was employed during August, so I didn't have as much time. But yeah, Bayonetta is just super fun, and I really do want to play more of it. Let's go peek. We're gonna need a new tier. Somewhere in between Rivals and Cosmic. We're gonna have to change the colors again. I'm just gonna do blue. Okay, this is gonna maybe be a controversial one. Peak is just kind of whatever, man. I don't know. A lot of my friends like it, and it was kind of similar to Rivals, and like, oh, there's this game, it's really cheap, and we could all play it, and I was like, all right, yeah, sure, I'll play Peak. And at first, the first session was really fun. I like the way proximity chat is implemented. I think the ways in which your voice echoes when you're super far is very impressive. But it's supposed to be challenging, right? Because you kind of go through, I think it's 4 worlds, right? You do one climb, you make it to the campfire, and then you unlock the next section of the climb. And it gets progressively harder and harder, and every area after the first one has a new gimmick, or a new way that the level is designed to make it more challenging. I remember specifically the second world was designed a lot harder, but it had vines that you could climb across. The third world was this icy one, and if the wind was blowing, it would give you a frostbite debuff, so you had to stay kind of behind a wall or in a little cove to keep yourself safe. And then the last world was lava. It just had lava and make you hot. And a lot of the challenge in Peak in completing these climbs is using your resources effectively and cleverly, so that you don't die of hunger, because every debuff that you have gets added onto your one stamina bar. So if you're hungry, your stamina bar is getting smaller because there's a gap that needs to be filled by food, and when you eat, you get your stamina bar back. So things like that, you gotta manage your resources so that you don't have too many debuffs making your stamina bar too small for you to complete a climb. I think that's really fun. I think it's a very good idea, a very novel idea. I think it praise is there. I just think in practice, once you play, after you play the game the first time, or after you make it far the first time, it's kind of, I don't know. I don't think there's anything in the game that's funny enough outside of your friends falling down that justifies how long a one run to kind of the ending can take. Because it takes a while. It's not a waste time thing. It's an investment. It's a couple hours at least, and maybe that's just because I was bad. But I don't know, for me, every time that I played it in recent memory, it's just first world I'm having a blast because I'm in it with the energy to have a fun time with my friends. And then second world, I'm still in it because it's yeah, let's do this. But it's challenging. And sometimes we die on the second world, or sometimes we beat it. And by the time we either die or beat the second world, I've had my fun. I got my fill. We had our laughs. I had enough of the climbing mechanics. I'm ready to do something else. But if you beat the second world, by the time I'm trying to climb that third one, I'm over it, man. I'm sick of it. I just get really annoyed at the climbing mechanics, and if I have a lot of debuffs. And if you die, you're just sitting there watching your friends climb, and you can talk to them, but still, it's just I think it drags. It just drags hard. I don't know. I don't have the patience for it. And that's on me, I guess. Maybe this is gonna be a controversial one. Moving on, Repo. Oh, here we go. Now, I was like, man, we actually don't have a lot of tiers. Now we do. Just look at that. Repo is a tier above Peak. That's not true. So in terms of like... Here, let me... I'm not using the word slop, I refuse. I'm calling it friend trash. Repo, especially when it came out, I don't think it shied away from the fact that it was just Lethal Company but different. Which is fine. And there's also like 8 billion of those games. What, there's, what's it called? It's the one where you're trying to film video and make hit YouTube videos, but that's also just Lethal Company, right? And I like Lethal Company. I think similar to Peak, it does wane fast on me. Like once you get your first really funny haha out of it, then you're just kind of playing it. It's like, oh. I do think after a lot of time, Repo is just like a more realized and better version of Lethal Company. I prefer it now, and I still play it every now and then because I find that I don't get sick of it. And the reason that I don't get sick of it is purely because of the shot mechanics. Every time I play the game, I just like min-maxing my speed, and I like making myself as fast as possible, and that's the only reason I keep playing it. I like seeing how fast I can get, which sometimes is very fast, and it usually offers me no tactical advantage because it uses way too much stamina. Kind of similar to Peak though, in where I get sick of the climbing really fast. I get sick of the grabbing shit in Repo really fast. Sorry to all of my friends who've played with me, but I am not there to grab and secure anything. I'm there to like run away from monsters and like scream and get killed. Whenever we encounter a big piano or a big case with a rhino in it, and it's like, okay, we all gotta do this, let's go. I'm tapped out. I don't find it fun. Like, I know it's supposed to be intentionally difficult and frustrating, but I just don't care. I want to get shot by the blind guy, because that's the funny guy. I don't care about interacting with the main gimmick, really. I don't know. Maybe I have something to ask for saying that. But everything I like about Repo... I love everything about Repo, except, like, the main way that you secure treasure. Because it just gets frustrating, especially the deeper you go. And again, I get that that's the point, but it's not, like, hitting me in a way where I'm like... Oh, ha ha ha. You know? I think a big problem that doesn't exist in Repo, that used to when it was new, was if you died, and especially if you died early, this was a big, big issue. You just couldn't do anything, right? You're just sitting there, and if you died just by yourself, you're doing nothing. And Repo is not a fun game to watch other people play. I don't know, like, I cannot imagine sitting down and watching a YouTube video of people playing Repo. It's just not... Repo is fun because you're having funny ha-has with your friends. It's not fun because you're watching your friends do funny ha-has without you. But I said they fixed it because they gave you a means of, there's a little like meter that charges up while you're dead, and you can use it at any time even before it's full, but the more you have, the longer you're able to do it. And doing it is, when you trigger it, you can talk to your teammates. You can like turn your little corpse on and actually talk to people and communicate with them, which is great because you can use that to spectate, you know, one of your other friends, and if they, you know, you can spectate them, go back to a different guy who might have your body and tell them where they are. Fantastic. Like, genuinely such a good fix to the game that made me like it so much more. Yeah. I still play Repo semi-consistently. I think it's fun. I think it, out of all like the games where it's like, get your friends together for a silly, quirky time, Repo's easily the best one, and it's not close. And I'm also making this statement while probably putting my foot down and saying, I really don't want to play any more of those. I know, like, there's RV there yet, Oh god, I'm sick of it, man. I'm sorry. It just like we are at a point where it does kind of feel like these are getting churned out specifically for like streamers and not for me. That sounds like such an asshole thing. It's not for me. But no, I mean, like it just feels like it's so easy to identify a game where it's like, that's for a Twitch streamer. I'm not gonna like this. RV There Yet is absolutely one of those. I do not want to play that at all. But yeah, like I said, in terms of all of those, I think Repo is genuinely enjoyable, and probably just like, if my friends are ever trying to get a quick fix for some funny ha-has, let's just play Repo, guys. Like, let's just not make it complicated. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on. So, Pokemon Black is here. I have not actually played Pokemon Black. Do I make a whole... Alright, whatever. We're adding it to the repo tier. Okay. So, as I was saying earlier, how in repo, if you died, you just couldn't do anything back in the day. My entertainment was shiny hunting in Pokemon Black, because I bought a copy of Pokemon Black for myself, in Christmas last year, I think. Yeah, holy moly. And I am dead set on not playing that game until I get a shiny Oshawott as my starter. So, whenever I would die in repo, and I have not shiny hunted in a very long time, but usually whenever I would die in repo, what I would do is I would just open up my DS and I would shiny hunt until I was either alive or we moved on. And you know what? It worked. I don't mind shiny hunting. I've never shiny hunted before, fun fact. I've never gotten a shiny Pokemon ever, either. And so I'm sick of it. I think it's about time I get a shiny, and if I'm gonna get a shiny, I want shiny Oshawott. That's my guy. I love Oshawott. So that's all I really have to say about that, because that's just what I was doing. Oh boy, we're on to some behemoths now. Silent Hill 2 Remake and OG Silent Hill 2. Okay, this is gonna take a while. So, I need to go eat food. I'm gonna pause the recording and come back, and then I'll get into it. Okay, I ate. I'm gonna move my Mac. So, I played Silent Hill 2 Remake first. Why did I do that? Because, one, Silent Hill 2 and any of the old Silent Hill games are mad expensive. In a perfect world, well, this isn't true anymore. I did do it, but at the time, I really could only like afford Silent Hill 2 Remake, and I was like, Silent Hill 2 is too expensive. I might as well just play the remake. That said, I wasn't going in blind to the story or the themes. To be frank, I'm very familiar with a lot of the, I'm very familiar with like Silent Hill 2 specifically. I wouldn't say I'm super familiar with any of the other ones, but I don't know, I had a phase where I was just really interested in it, and I wanted to finally play it for myself so that I could, you know, form my own little kind of like, oh, look at that, I think this means that kind of thing. And I wanted to stream it for my friends. So I bought Remake, and it took me about 18 hours to finish the game. I streamed it for my friends, and they almost cried at the ending, the losers. I mean, rightfully so. It's very touching. And I will say, a lot of my opinions about the game have changed now that I've played the original. At the time that I beat it, though, I did really enjoy Remake. I thought Remake was very good. I think particularly the adaptation of the soundtrack and the faithfulness to the original script being mostly unchanged. Perfect. That's what I want a remake to do. I think the voice acting done by everybody, particularly Luke Robertson, voice of James, is just fantastic, and it really sells just like the raw emotional kind of, I don't know, sadness that is ever present throughout the game. I think what makes I think in hindsight though, what makes Remake so good is because it's jumping off the trampoline of Silent Hill 2. Like it's hard to fumble that when you have such a strong base. I liked the combat. I think the combat was generally very fun to do, especially like melee combat, like with the dodge and whatever. That said, I think it was fun, not fun enough to warrant how much there was. There were so many enemies everywhere that it was almost impossible to avoid a fight. And the dodge button, I think this is where the game kind of betrays like survival horror, in the sense that having a dodge button that is really good and having combat that feels, I guess, as tight and you know, tools as good as you have in Silent Hill 2 Remake kind of betrays the part of survival horror where you're scared of getting into fights, where, you know, you don't have a lot of resources and fighting enemies is not easy, and you don't have an easy dodge button, and you don't have, you know, free camera movement, and it's not super easy to get out of that situation. You don't want to be in that situation. I think in Silent Hill 2 Remake, you don't want to be in that situation, but not because you're scared of it, not because you're scared of taking damage, not because you're scared of losing resources. It's just because you just kind of don't want to at a certain point. Because there's so much combat, and it's not like the enemies drop anything either. So every time you get into a fight, it is just like a waste of your time, really. That's a bit extreme, but it is just kind of like, I don't know, it just kills time. And there's, again, so much of it that at a certain point it does drag. Where was I going with this? Because, I don't know, as a player, you just kind of hit like a point where inevitably in your head it's like, I'm gonna get into a fight. And then, you know, you're beating them up, you dodge, you shoot them, they're dead. But then you have to do it like 4 times every room. And the game, I played on just like the standard difficulty. The game showers you in resources. I had, I think, 50 health drinks by the time I finished the game. And that wasn't because I was avoiding using them. I was using my health items, but I just had so many that regardless of how or when I got into a fight, I knew I could make it out because I had the health to back it up. And so it just, like, I don't know. It's not very scary. It's not a very scary game. But because it has all of the elements, at least most of the elements that make Silent Hill 2 so good, you're still there. You're still entertained. You're still invested in what's going on. I'm gonna move this up to just like around where Resident Evil 7 was, like just good. Silent Hill 2 Original, bam. Holy moly. Wow, what a game. A lot of the things are true that I just said about Remake in terms of, like, the narrative obviously is as good as everyone says it is. The music is as good as everyone says it is. I think the voice acting is funny. I once had a discussion with somebody, a random person on Twitter.com about Silent Hill 2 versus Silent Hill 2 Remake, and they said, and I didn't push them super hard about this, because it was a friendly discussion, it wasn't like an argument. But they said that they did not, like, they preferred the weird, awkward voice acting in the original game in comparison to the remake's voice acting. Not discrediting the remake's good voice acting, but I think they believed it just added more to the atmosphere and creepiness and weirdness of Silent Hill, which I understand the point of, but I honestly think I disagree off the fact that I'm just way too obsessed with Luke Robertson's performance in Silent Hill 2 Remake. I don't know. I also think Silent Hill 2 Remake did Eddie's character a lot better. I think it did I think it did Laura a bit better too. Angela was about the same. And same with like Mary and Maria, they were about the same, but specifically like Eddie and Laura I think were way better in Remake than they were in the original game. Especially Eddie. Eddie was just kind of like he was just kind of around in the original. That said, mechanically and like atmosphere and all that jazz, the original mogs so hard. I think like classic survival horror mechanics work way better in the presentation of this story, mostly in part because of fixed camera angles. I think they are such a lost and underappreciated art in games because of the closest thing that you can get to recreating like, you know, like filming a movie. And when you're trying to tell and trying to present a narrative as kind of, I don't want to say like deep and complex, but as thought out, I guess, as thought out and I don't know, impactful as Silent Hill 2. Fixed camera angles help so much in delivering a message and conveying information to the player about what they're looking at and what they're experiencing. And I think the remake misses that so hard because it has like an over-the-shoulder camera perspective. I actually did very recently I wrote an essay about this exact kind of thing, about how much the classic survival horror mechanics added to the presentation of Silent Hill 2 and how it makes it function and flow just so beautifully. And how the remake kind of misses out on that. Also, like, Silent Hill 2 is not a very long game. I think my playthrough is only about 7 hours. Silent Hill 2 Remake is 18 hours. And after I played Silent Hill 2, I don't know, man. Thinking about playing the remake again just makes me want to like choke myself. I think the remake is just so unnecessarily long and padded out for no reason, especially in like the Toluca prison. Oh my days. It's just, I don't know, it's just weird how many extra steps they add to every little thing when those extra steps never usually benefit like the narrative it's telling. Or anything about the game. It just like, it's so long. Which again, I didn't really mind when I played it before playing the original because I just didn't have much of a concept of how short the original was. But yeah, after my first like session playing the original game, I finished the apartments in like an hour and a half. And I was like, oh my god, I would have been like just opening the apartments at this point in the remake. I think the only benefit to the remake padding things out is within the first hour. I did like the extra bits of exploration throughout the town of Silent Hill. I think the original could have used that a bit more, but otherwise, I think the original just mogs in every way. And I stand by what I said earlier, where I think the remake is kind of only as good as it is because it had like such a strong base to leap off of. That said, at the same time, I am still excited for the Silent Hill 1 remake that Bloober Team is making. I think they'll do a good job there too. But I do want to play Silent Hill 1 at some point. Just Silent Hill 2 itself is genuinely one of the best games I've ever played. It's not even like, well, no, it's not even close. It's very much an exaggeration, but I just love it. I love the story it's telling. I love the way it builds up all the foreshadowing and the little details and the way that it's framed and the way I just, everything about it I adore. I will never shut up about this game. Let's move on. I played Sonic Adventure 2. I did not 100% complete it for the 4th time, but I played the main campaigns on my actual setup instead of on Steam. And the reason that I did this I don't even, where do I put this? We'll go below Bayonetta, I think. Let's do... Alright. The reason that I did this is because I was able to get my hands at Goodwill a genuine, beautiful CRT that displays all of my GameCube, PS2, and 64 games so beautifully. They look so good. And so I decided, just like, you know, to get use out of it, I started to play through Sonic Adventure 2 again on it. And yeah, man, God, it looks so good. So, you know, it was short, it was quick, but I had a very good time. I love the game. It's my favorite game, you know that. So it was really fun playing it on, like, basically original hardware, like, as almost authentic as I could experience it. I think maybe I might actually 100% complete that save file. The only problem with that is I can't cheat on making a Chow. I have to make a Chow legit and actually have it win all the things and grind all its stuff to do that. But that's part of the game, so I think I'll do that. Maybe this year, maybe throughout next while. We'll see. I don't have much else to say about that. Draft hat. Where do I put this? Straft hat. I'm gonna say Straft hat is goofing around. I was on a call with a lot of my buddies, but one of them in particular just found this game on Steam. I think it was free. And he noticed it and he was like, this looks weirdly good. And so him and I tried it and it was weirdly good. It's just a first-person shooter where you just 1v1. At least at the time we played it was 1v1. I think they've added 2v2s since. But there's like hundreds and hundreds of maps that you just rotate on every round. Because as soon as you kill the other person, you go to the next map and you play on the next map. And every map has a unique set of, you know, weapons or throwables or guns or melee items, right? But what makes it so good outside of all of that is just it feels really good to move around and jump around. And they have wall kicks and tilts and really good momentum build. And it's just like, I don't know, it just feels really fun to play. And granted, I've only played it for a few hours, if that, but it was just fun. I liked playing it. It was a good old grand old time. So yeah, I'm very pleased we discovered it by accident. Hold on, I want to change the colors here. You are now that color. Now you're that color. Yeah, I really don't have much else to say about it. It was just enjoyable and special because it was just one of those random things where you find and it's like, well, fuck it, and it turned out to be like a good time. Similarly, I think Grapples Galore, it's same thing. My friends also kind of just like, well, look at this wacky game, and it provided us 2 hours of entertainment, and I don't think it was nearly as good as Draft Hat, so maybe I don't even... I would put it in the fun for 5 minutes, but I also don't want to remove the but wants you to play longer than that, because that's not true. Whatever, it's still goofing around. We were goofing around. I got tired of it faster than anyone else, I think. Because, I don't know, there's a lot less maps than there is in Straft Hat. There's a lot less weapons than there is in Straft Hat. And the main way you move around is fun, but I don't know, like, you can only do so much, right? It's, I don't know, it's good for an evening of stupidness, and that's about it. I don't know. I like Straft Hat way more. Right, okay. I replayed The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. Well, replayed. I swear to God, I have done everything in that game but finished the game. I'm at the final dungeon, and then I stopped playing. I don't remember why. I think it was also a Silk Song victim. That's okay. But, I mean... it's very... good. I don't know, it's hard for me to really talk about this game in depth because everything about it I think is genuinely just very solid. I think in terms of Zelda games, it has great dungeons, it has great items to fuck around with. It does one of the most unique things in the series with the items, in that you can rent almost all of the major items off the bat and have them all, and you can kind of tackle the dungeons in your own little order the entire game, depending on what you have. Although if you're good with your money, you kind of already have all of them really fast. Yeah, I mean, I find that I'm really good at articulating why I don't like something, and I have a much harder time articulating why I like something. I guess because I think about the things I don't like more, and maybe that says something about me, but it's just a very solid video game. I don't know. Like I don't even think there's like a particular low point in it. Like everything the game has to offer is genuinely fun. I love all the side quests. I love, like, I guess the only part that's sometimes annoying is finding all the manmys, but even then, like, the game makes it, they chart it out on like the mini map to know where they are, and they're easy to identify by the sound, so it's not a slog. Movement feels good, tight and responsive. A lot of the items unique to the world are fun to use, like the leaf tornado. I think it's really interesting how they took the base of the Link to the Past overworld, but added the twist in, you know, like twisted it in such a way where it felt fresh and new. The main gimmick of going into the wall and sliding across is really fun. I think it plays with the 3DS super well and uses the console in a very creative way. It's used uniquely in puzzles. I guess like my one criticism is that the boss fights are boring. They're not actually like super interesting at any point. But in terms of like isometric Legend of Zelda game, that is the best you're gonna get. It is fantastic. It's better than OG Link to the Past. It's better than Link's Awakening. It's better than I don't think I played any of the other isometric ones, but yeah, it's just really solid. The soundtrack, good video game, man. I don't know. I like I actually really liked the narrative too. Like, it's not as, you know, in depth or complicated, and it's not. No Zelda narrative is complicated, but it's not like as what's the word I'm looking for? I guess in-depth is okay. It's not in-depth like Twilight Princess. It's pretty basic, but what they do have is very solid in my opinion. I think kind of the whole like otherworld thing and meeting otherworld Zelda Hilda is cool. Yeah, I think the only dungeon that isn't the best is the ice dungeon. Shocker, because ice physics are frustrating sometimes, but yeah, I don't know. It's just a good job, Link Between Worlds. You're a good video game. Moving on. Mindwave! Specifically the demo. I guess, what do we do here? Let's go another row. There you go. I'm so excited for when this game comes out. I mean, I made a video of me playing it. You were there. You could see me do it. I hate that I just did that. Why did I choose that color? Let's go dark blue. There. And then we can do yellow here. Beauty. There we go. Fixed it. I'm so hyped for Mindwave. Oh, I'm so excited. It's gonna be such a good video game. I cannot wait. I guess I don't really have to spend too much time on it, because if you really want to know how I feel about it, you can watch me play the whole damn thing. But I'm really looking forward to what they do with the narrative. And again, I've been thinking about how clever it is that the little like micro games that you play are kind of like little dioramas of, you know, the person's mind, and I'm really excited, and I'm really looking forward and really hoping that that's pulled off in a way that reveals and tells you things about characters that don't need to be put into words, and it would let you like theorize about what this character's been through, what their life is like. I'm so excited. I think it's gonna be such a special game. That's really all I have to say about it, like right now. But one of the coolest games I've played ever. I know it's gonna be a smash hit when it comes out. I can't wait. Paper Mario, I am in Chapter 3, which is the ghost one, and that's the last I played it. I haven't touched it in a long time, but I mean, fuck, man, it's Paper Mario. If you can't tell, I'm trying to go a little faster now. It's Paper Mario. It's the first one. Wow, big shocker, but Thousand Year Door is one of my favorite games of all time. It's in my top 10, and so it's no question that I would enjoy first Paper Mario as well. For all the same reasons, the witty, funny NPC dialogue, the engaging turn-based combat mechanics, the unique kind of gimmicks that they add to it, the visual identity, the music, just the charm, I guess, the partners, all the unique side characters that join you and add something valuable to your team. It's just great. I really enjoy playing it. I need to go finish it. I need to properly sit down and do it. So yeah, but you know, I've played chapters 1 and 2 and I had a lot of fun. It's always exciting getting new badges. It's exciting, you know, getting star pieces when you can. I like it. Moving on. Look outside. Okay. We're gonna put this fella in unfinished but deserves a second shot. I don't think I got very far. Let me check my hour count, because this is another game I started by streaming it on Discord for my friends. Here you go. Back in May. Yeah, 2.5 hours. I wish I didn't close my Steam thing. That was silly. 2.5 hours in, not very far, I don't think. I really appreciate and respect it for being this top-down RPG kind of homage to I don't know if it was actually made in RPG Maker or not, but like if it was or wasn't, it's still like obviously respecting RPG Maker games, and in terms of like its visual style, it crushes it, and it still has that like classic RPG Maker feel, and the actual like aesthetics of it, and the type of horror really, I don't know, really speaks to me. I think body horror is really cool. Not like cool as in like fuck yeah, but cool as in like, oh, that freaks me out, but in like I'm intrigued, because I think there's a lot of interesting things oh Jesus Christ, I think there's a lot of interesting things that you can do with body horror in terms of telling a story or just being creepy. And I think recently I watched John Carpenter's The Thing, and I really liked that movie for its weird alien body horror. I think it just adds so much, and is very also impressive for being all practical effects. So Look Outside kind of, it plays on that freaked out kind of string in my mind that really enjoys that stuff. I didn't get very far. I don't remember. I think nothing really happened. I just forgot to keep playing it. Like, I just kind of moved on. I think the last time I played it, I was dying a lot. Like, I was a little stuck, and I was getting frustrated, so I didn't feel motivated to come back for a bit, and then eventually I lost it. So I need to restart from scratch, I think, to really, like, get myself back into it. But I think the game, I don't know, it's been a long time, and I didn't get far enough to really remember if what I was feeling at the time as like a criticism was valid or not. I think I was generally just frustrated because it was difficult. Oh my god, okay. So the game has this, like, the main kind of mechanic for when you explore your, like, fucked up apartment building is that when you're outside the apartment, You can't save. You cannot save your game when you're outside your room. So there's always a big risk when you leave, and you know, you do get better rewards the further and further and longer you're away from your room, but obviously the risk increases that you die. And I think that's a fantastic mechanic in like a horror setting, because it adds so much tension. It makes things feel a lot scarier, and when things go wrong, it makes it all that more intense. Simultaneously though, I think there was something I was trying to accomplish, and I was bashing my head in the wall over and over again, dying over and over again to try and get it done. And I don't know, the fact that I couldn't save outside my room was really pissing me off. So maybe I was just mad in the moment. I don't know. I'm not going to say definitively like, oh, I actually didn't like that mechanic after all. But in theory and in concept, I think it's a fantastic way to make your horror game scarier. Yeah. I think it's solid. I really can't say much more than that outside of I need to actually go in and play it a lot more. But I know that I think it's gotten some major content updates since the last time I played it, that I should probably go read or something, but whatever. I'll give it a proper shot at some point, because I think it was actually really special. And I remember the soundtrack being freakishly good. And the pixel art, I shouldn't gloss over this. The pixel art is also fantastically good, and is genuinely very creepy. So I think potentially very good video game. I just need to actually go and do it. Okay, Hollow Knight. I would make a new tier for this, but I'm not going to, seeing how long this is. It's Hollow Knight. I've played this game a billion times. But what I did this time around is I did like my 5th playthrough, but in my 4 playthroughs before that, something I've never done any of the God Home DLC. And what the God Home DLC is basically just this area where you can access every boss fight in the game individually, plus some new ones, and you can fight them at will. As well as there's some boss rush modes. I had never done any of that in my playthroughs before. I don't really remember why, but I just didn't want to. But this time around, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And so I did the whole game 112% as usual, and that's fun as always. I did it very fast. And I love Hollow Knight to death. There's nothing new for me to say there. It's just a perfect game. But so the Hall of Gods specifically, I did the full 9 yards. I did every Pantheon, and I did every single boss fight without taking any damage. Because in the game, when you choose to fight a boss, you can challenge it on like a base difficulty, a second one that I don't remember the name of, and then there's Radiant difficulty. Radiant difficulty basically just means no hit. Do it no hits. And so I did every single boss on the Radiant difficulty, and when you do that, the statue that shows the boss gets the little mark of it. I did that for every single one, even harder Radiance. I did Absolute Radiance no hit. I'm so fucking proud of it. And while I was doing this, I talked some of my friends into doing it at the same time. I was the first one that beat Absolute Radiance. I'm the GOAT. I'm the best Hollow Knight player in the world. No, but it was genuinely, like, I mean, Absolute Radiance was frustrating. It was very hard, but the feeling that I got when I beat it was so exhilarating and so good. I remember beating it specifically. It was a very special moment because I was on Discord with all my buddies, and eventually it was getting so late into the night. It was about 2:30 a.m. Everyone had left except for me and Jacob, and we were just talking about some random bullshit. Jacob was telling me a story. He was in the middle of a story, and while he was telling the story, I was on a very good attempt. And I had gotten to the point where you do the, I gotten past phase 2, where you do you then do the climb. You climb up the platforms to try and finish the fight. And he was in the middle of the story while I was climbing the platforms, and I was so scared. I, didn't want to interrupt the story. So I was pretending to listen, but I was so locked in. And eventually I got up there, and I did the thing where you pogo up to the top of Radiance, and you follow him around, and you keep pogoing. And I beat it, and I just screamed. I was screaming and screaming and screaming. I did it! I fucking did it! Jacob! Jacob, I love you! I love you so much! I'm so sorry for interrupting! And he was popping off, and oh, it was really special. It was a very special moment. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun to do that. I'm glad that I did. And I also did it in preparation for Silksong, I guess. Actually, well, at the time, we didn't know what Silksong's release date was at all, because it was only announced 2 weeks before the game came out. But I guess it was pseudo training for Silksong, which, holy moly, get up there, get up there. It didn't feel real that I was actually playing Hollow Knight Silksong. I'd been waiting for 7 years, basically. And what's crazier to me is other than the fact that, oh my god, I'm actually playing it, is that it delivered in every single way possible. I think it is almost a true upgrade to Hollow Knight, like a proper sequel. The movement is even faster and precise and better, and it maintains like interesting ways to build with tools and you know, different like ways that you can set the crests, right? The crests changes your basic attacks. With tools and crests, there's interesting builds. The boss fights are really good. Music, fantastic as always. I think all of the environmental design is improved and better and looks better. I think the story was even better too. I think it was a little more like present than it is in Hollow Knight. With Hollow Knight's story, I think the game kind of wants you to piece some things together, and it's not very in your face. I'm lukewarm on when games do that, because in Hollow Knight's case, I do think it's relatively simple to realize what's going on, if you just pay attention. But then there's games like Elden Ring, where you don't know fucking anything. The game doesn't tell you shit, and I hate that. But with Silksong, it was very obvious what was happening. It was very obvious, you know, what was going on and why, and I appreciated that. I thought that was nice. I think part of me still prefers Hollow Knight just because I've had more time with it, and it's been like my comfort game while I'm waiting for Silksong, and it just feels so weird to be like, yeah, I'm done with you now. I mean, realistically, I'll never be done with either of them, but I've just had more time with Hollow Knight, so I prefer it a little bit more. But my god, what a good ass game Silksong was. The raw aura of just like shadow dropping a release date on a random fucking like Monday and having it be 2 weeks from, it was a Thursday, I think, actually, and then having it be only 2 weeks away in September. Oh my god, it had everyone freaking out, and it crashed the Steam pages and everything, the storefront. Man, oh man. I think the only thing that I am slightly disappointed by in Silksong was the Grandmother Silk boss fight. I wish that one was a little harder, or like had a harder version available somewhere. Maybe when the DLCs start rolling out, which they've already announced one of them. And one other thing, I liked the tools and I liked the crests, but I think I preferred the charms in Hollow Knight. And I don't know quite why, because I think the tools and crests are way more balanced and work better in the game than the charms did. A lot of the charms are overpowered, but I think that's kind of why I like them more, because I just liked being overpowered. But yeah, Silksong, mwah, I can't wait to replay the game 5 times just like Hollow Knight and do everything I can and learn it like the back of my hand. It's genuinely baffling to me how hard they delivered. Like, just bravo. Alright, Devil May Cry 3. I'm gonna put it right next to Sonic Adventure 2. I was goofing around. I just did like a short, brief playthrough of it on my Nintendo Switch. I did the freestyle mode, where the weapon switching works kind of like Devil May Cry 4 and 5. Just because I was curious, because the last time I played the game, it wasn't on freestyle mode, so I think on that playthrough, you know, I was a bit rusty because it's been a while. I often think about how rusty I must be in 5 and anything else now, because I have not played Devil May Cry in a long time, but I don't want to lose that skill, so I should probably touch up sometime. But anyways, it's Devil May Cry 3. I think, honestly, I warmed up to the game even more. I already liked it a lot, but I warmed up even more, like, playing it again and appreciating it and sitting there watching the cutscenes. I think I appreciated it more, too, because it was a palate cleanser after the god-awful, horrible Netflix show. I hate that show. It is one of the worst pieces of dog shit I've ever watched, and do not watch it. If you are interested in Devil May Cry at all, don't watch it. Or at least watch it after you already like the series, when you've played the games. It is so abhorrently bad and betrays so many things that the series is about, and ruins characters like Lady, and it's awful. My god. I'm so mad it's getting a season 2. I will be hate watching. Maybe I won't. I don't even know if I want to hate watch. I saw a photo of Dante and Virgil fighting at the Washington Monument. What? It's bad. Anyways, so it felt good playing Devil May Cry 3 to cheer myself up. Because, my god, that Netflix show sucked ass. That's all I really have to say about that. Nothing crazy. Ooh, dispatch. So, we'll put you in good. Dispatch kind of took the world by storm for a little bit there. It was a very, very popular game while it was releasing a new little episode every week. It replicated and kind of brought back the Walking Dead Telltale style game, you know, like where your decisions matter and your experience can be different than someone else's experience because you chose different things. And at the end of every episode, you can see what choices people made, like what the majority or minority split was. I think for that alone, I really admire Dispatch for bringing that back, because honestly, I think the Telltale games are really special for that, and it's kind of sad that they disappeared in the way that they did. So it was I really just enjoyed that period of time where people were discussing the decisions and the story when a new episode came out, and you know, everyone was so excited for what's gonna happen next. It felt like the most peace on my Twitter timeline that there's been in a very long time. And for that I really respect it. I also really respect it for the fantastic vocal performances given by like Aaron Paul, Laura Bailey, Voice Critical even, Jacksepticeye, right? Like it had a crazy voice cast and they did a fantastic job portraying the characters that they were given. On that note, I like pretty much all of the characters that were present in the story. I think the game does a very fantastic job of making it intentionally frustrating in the beginning, but as they get better and you get better, the actual dispatching part of the game becomes easier and so fun. I actually really enjoyed the dispatching part of the game. I thought it was very thrilling. I wish there was kind of like an endless mode even. But I think my only two complaints about the game are that occasionally the dialogue and the writing kind of teeters on this like what's a like comprehensive way to describe it. It kind of leans on the like a bit of raunchy or crass, kind of like, oh, fuck you, suck my dick, you fucking stupid little dumb bitch. Kind of like that, where characters kind of swear a little too much sometimes. And it's like, just cool it, man. I don't know what it is for me, but when I'm watching or reading or playing something, I find that swearing, when a character swears, even in like appropriate scenarios, it really takes me out. And I can't really place why. you know, occasionally if it happens like once in a blue moon, yeah, sure. But I don't know. In a game like Dispatch, people are swearing a lot, and I don't know. Sometimes it was just like, let's just fuck it, let's pump the brakes. I know I'm a sailor mouth, but my god. My other complaint, story-wise, was I didn't like having to cut somebody, or specifically Sonar or Coupe. I thought the reasonings behind cutting the person that early in the game was bad, was weak. I think in terms of like, you know, spicing up the drama in your game world, or your story world rather, I think that makes sense, you know, given the setting. I would have done it later in the game, because it happens so early in the game that you as a player don't really actually have that much of an attachment to Coupe or Sonar. They don't get a lot of time before one of them is cut. And I think after you cut one of them, you do get more time with the person you didn't cut. And I think if it were me, I would have done it like mid-game. Or I would have made it, or I would have added an extra layer to the decision. What if maybe, instead of just cutting one or the other, what if the reason that they were cutting cut was not to whatever it was like to send a message, I think, to show them that they're not safe, whatever Blonde Blazer said. But I think it would have been more interesting if maybe someone had to get cut for budget reasons, and then you could maybe present a third option to the player where Robert could take the fall and be like, okay, stop trying to fix my suit. If that's eating the budget, stop fixing my suit so we can keep them, because Robert wants them to improve as people and get better. I think that would have been more interesting than just like, yeah, cut them because we need to, and they'll show up later as a villain, which, you know, it was very obvious that was going to happen. But outside of that, I think generally it was just solid, enjoyable, and I very much appreciated that like sense of community that spawned from having a Telltale style game back in rotation again. Very good stuff. I hope that the studio makes a season 2 or makes a new game like that. I hope that's what they keep kind of trying to do, because it worked, and I'm glad it worked out for them, and I want to see more. Balatro! I now have, I'll re-pull up my Steam library here. How many hours do I have in Balatro now? I have 238.6 hours in Balatro. And I do not intend on stopping. I will play this game until I die. I think it is the best video game of all time, and the best thing ever created since sliced bread. It's just way too good. And specifically, I have tried out the multiplayer mod. I forced my friends to try it with me. They hate playing with me because I have 238 hours and they don't. But I love playing the multiplayer mod, and I love the decks that mod added. And I've tried out some other mods that I don't like as much, but yeah, I've been doing a lot of different things. I've been doing more gold stake. I've been doing a lot of high score. I've been playing the game, I guess. And I'm so addicted to this shit, man. I don't know. I am obsessed, and I can't stop, and I won't stop. It's time to hit into the shindig. Buckshot roulette. Okay. I think buckshot roulette's kind of weak. Maybe not weak. It's just like, I think it's the same kind of thing as Peak, where it's your whole kind of like, oh, let's go do something, let's do this really fast. And we got our fix in for a couple of minutes, and it was fun and entertaining while it was happening. I appreciate the strategy behind the items and the decision making and the gambling behind, like, is this a blank? Who knows? But once you kind of go through a couple rounds, it's just like, how many? I'm gonna check my count in this one, because it's probably not very high. Let me. I gotta sort this by alphabetical again, because it's right. No, that's Borderlands 2. Whoopsies. Yeah, I've played it once for 89 minutes, and I'll tell you this: none of my friends have asked to play it since. I'm just saying. Nobody has asked to play Buckshot Roulette since we played those 89 minutes together. That's fine, but I do think that's kind of goes to show like how worthwhile it is to go back, because it's The Lion Sleeps Tonight again. The jungle, the lion. Why are there two separate Lion Sleeps Tonights in this? What the heck? I'm getting a new one on. New playlist. That's crazy. Anyways, sorry, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I think that kind of goes to show how worthwhile and like replayable it is when none of my friends are asking to play like a friend game. I'm sorry, it might be a little mean. I think, like, again, what it's worth, I think like the actual core concept is very fun. I think the aesthetic is nice. I think there's genuinely some cool kind of strategy, or, you know, lack of strategy that you can put into it that makes it fun and silly. But again, I've played it for 89 minutes. I really don't have that much to say about it. It was fun for those 89 minutes. It was a fantastic 89 minutes. Moving on. Oh boy, Clover Pit was a kind of hyped up roguelike, Balatro-like, deck building like, I don't remember all the tags on it, but the reason I tried it is because, oh, I just realized there's a game missing here that I need to pull up real quick. One moment. Can't believe I forgot it. How dare I? Because it's kind of, the reason I remembered it is because it's kind of in the similar vein to Clover Pit. There we go. We'll talk about that later. Right, okay. Clover Pit was this kind of like roguelike, Balatro-like, you know, same kind of thing. And it was hyped up a little bit. It looked fun. I was excited to try it, and man, I really did try to like it. I'll check my hour count on this one too. I played it for 5 hours essentially, and on my very second run, I remember I was scoring within the billions, I think, before I died. So it's not like I'm ass. I'm not ass, but there's just a lot of things about the game. Oh, and I'll say this too, I haven't played it since it came out. And I recognize that I believe there's been a lot of content updates, or maybe balance updates, or there's just been a lot of things that have been changed or added to it. And so I recognize that maybe a lot of my criticisms might not hold true anymore. So just, I guess, take it with a grain of salt, or understand that the context of which I'm talking about this game was when it came out. I think it failed at being an entertaining or enticing roguelike or deck builder because, one, the ways in which that you scored high, it was the same. So basically you're spinning a slot machine and trying to get, you know, whatever slot machine patterns you can get. Because it's it's a 3x3 grid of symbols, and the symbols go from like a clover to a banana to a treasure chest to a diamond to a 7, all that kind of shit. But okay, so in Balatro, for example, you can do like your jokers and the hands that you play can interact with each other in a billion different ways. You can create joker lineups so strong that it doesn't matter what hand you play. You can create hands so strong that it doesn't really matter what jokers you have. In Clover Pit, the ways to score high boil down to doing the same thing every single run, and that really is just like choosing one singular symbol to buff as much as possible through, you know, whatever items you get and whatever, you know, passive skills you get. You just choose one symbol, you make it as good as possible, you make it show up as consistently as possible because you can manipulate the chances of it showing up, and then you score high. And it doesn't matter what symbol you choose, it's kind of goes the same every time. And yeah, you notice that very fast. Like once you do like 4 runs, it's just kind of like, well, how else do I start this? I also think Clover Pit is extremely susceptible to bad early game RNG just destroying a run. Like, if you don't find the right items early on in a run, you're cooked. And I know that's kind of a hard claim to substantiate because it's based on luck, and that's, you know, I'm sure there's maybe someone listening who didn't experience that at all or disagrees completely, and our experiences are both valid because we just got different luck. Or, you know, maybe I was just choosing the wrong items. Who knows? But sometimes in my experience, it did kind of feel like no matter what items I bought, if there weren't the specific right ones early game, I was cooked. I think one of the reasons why Balatro is as addictive as it is because of its fantastic visual and audio sound design, and also how well they coexist. You know, like the specific like sound bites for, you know, plus mult, like the ding, and, you know, or when it multiplies them all, like just, you know, for example. I think are the ways in which it counts chips, like the tick, 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 tick. The sound and visuals are so good that it makes it so hard to not want to look at and listen to. I think Clover Pit's biggest issue is that its sound and visuals are not good. Aesthetically, Clover Pit goes for this very like grungy, gross, you're locked up in this cell, and it's like a meat cell, and there's blood and viscera everywhere, and it's gross and disgusting, and you're like a prisoner there. You're forced to gamble for your freedom. And I understand that. I kind of understand what it's trying to go for, you know, in sort of like a narrative sense, and, you know, the harms of gambling and how it's like a sinful act. But when you are a game where you want your players to play again and again and again and again, that's a hard thing to pull off because it's hard to look at. It's hard to be exposed to for a long time because it's just drab. It just doesn't make you feel good. Similarly, I think the sound design, and this might sound very cruel, I just don't think the sound design is good at all. Specifically, so remember how I was talking about Balatro's sound design for when it's scoring. When Clover Pit's scoring, it has one singular sound for when, say, a symbol has a bonus effect, and it's this like ear-piercingly high-pitched and loud, like, and it just repeats. Every time like a bonus effect is triggered, it repeats. So when you're getting deep into a game, like very late, and you have a lot of things scoring, you hear this sound over and over and over again. And there's no music in the background either. You're just listening to this slot machine go and score. And it's grating. Like genuinely so grating. It makes it like that, combined with the aesthetic, just makes it so hard to want to sit there and dedicate the time to it. I think similarly with Balatro, in between you scoring is you deciding, is you making a decision. Do I discard these cards? Do I play these cards? Do I play this hand? Do I discard to hopefully play this hand? There are 1,000,000,001 decisions that you can make before you play another hand in Balatro while you're in a round. And then when you finish that round, you have to make decisions in the shop. Clover Pit is similar in the sense that you have a lot of decisions to make in a shop, but when you're in the scoring phase, all you can do really is spin the machine and wait. And just sit there and hope you get a good pattern. It's not like you're making a decision about how you spin it. There's a couple certain types of items that let you kind of trigger an active effect by hitting a button. But once you hit that button once, that item's up. You can't turn it off, I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. So you are genuinely just sitting there. And again, when you get into the late game, you have to spin a lot. And you get a lot of bonus spins. So sometimes you're sitting there and you spin the thing 10, times, like 9, 10 times, and you spin it. You, as a player, can't do anything while it's spinning, and then after it's done spinning, the game scores it for you, and then you have to sit there and listen to and then you spin again. Same thing. And that doesn't sound like it's a lot of time individually, but it adds up so fast. And what's nice about Balatro is, in a situation like that, when you get better at Balatro, you get faster at discarding your cards or recognizing hands and playing them. If I got better at Clover Pit, I can't make that part go faster. It's as slow as it is all the time. And I think something that would make it better is if the player could have some means of re-rolling specific like rows or columns within the grid. Or if there were items that let you switch, like choose a symbol to switch. If the player had more agency in making their own patterns, I think a lot of things about the game would be fixed. But ultimately, I think the biggest thing is that the sound design is working numbers against just working crazy numbers against the game. And once again, I haven't played it in a long time. I don't know if these things are different now, and I hope they are. Maybe I'll go check, right? Maybe I'll go load it up and check. But from my 5-hour experience when I first got the game, when it was brand new, that's what I got. And I really tried to like it, and I just couldn't. I really couldn't. Anyways, moving on. Cookie Clicker. It's fucking Cookie Clicker, man. What do you want me to say? What? Oh yeah, I love the part where you sit there for 5 minutes. Eclipsia! This is a very short, like 3-hour little walking. I don't really like calling it walking simulator because it feels like it's a negative statement, but good walking simulator. It has one of the most unique and visually very cool styles I've seen in a game in recent memory. I think there's this kind of interesting theming and narrative kind of going on. I haven't really taken the time to wrap my head all around it, but like the ending of the game is very, like it's very clear that there was supposed to be like an emotional response, right? And there was. But yeah, what's really special is like the visual style and the sound design, particularly just being very, I don't know, oh, I put it in the wrong tier. I meant to put it in good, sorry. Very engaging, I guess, is the right word. But specifically, there were moments in the game where you would like interact with something, and then you'd see this weird, trippy cutscene, and then you'd have a new power on your hand. You had one hand. Here, let's try this again. Let's see. Your POV here would be like, oh god. Okay, hold on. Okay, this is your player POV. Oh, wait. There we go. So you're walking, and then you could like morph your hand into a little like half sword, half hand, and you could cut things that were in your way. And then there was another one where the middle of your hand would turn into a giant, like you could see through it. It'd be a giant hole that would, and then if you looked through it, you would see like hidden details in the environment. Although I remember that only really being relevant once when you unlocked the power, and then never showing up again. And believe me, I kept trying to use it to check. Otherwise, it's neat. And then the third one is like you just kind of like, you can set it on fire and use it as a torch. And like, wait, sorry, I'll do it better. Yeah, you can. You'd set it as a torch and you'd walk around. But specifically, I think the best part of that game, near the end, there's this kind of puzzle where you're in this giant chapel and there's a giant snake that eats you when you get too close. However, in the chapel, there's a painting that you walk through, and in the painting, it's this beautiful little landscape, but then you find another painting, or you find a couple other paintings where you kind of have to solve this puzzle by going through the different paintings and collecting pieces of a sword that you use to kill the snake. However, you can also pick up the paintings and bring them through the other paintings. Specifically, there was one of a deer in like a forest during the summertime, but when you brought it into a different painting, suddenly it was the deer in fall time, and then that painting changed. And then there was another painting where the deer would be in wintertime, and that painting changed. And it, like, specifically, that part of the game was so fucking cool that it made it made the whole experience worth it. Yeah, I really liked that game. I think there was a section kind of in like a little like submarine thing that wasn't as strong. Like I didn't enjoy it as much, but yeah, the painting part, so fucking cool. One of the coolest little bits of game I've ever played. But yeah, I really appreciate it. It was a nice little 3 hour. It was cheap. It was 3 hours. It was enjoyable. I respect it. Dead Estate. Oh, sweet. It's just also another very good game. This is like an isometric kind of shoot 'em up roguelike. The reason that I found this game was I was scrolling on Twitter and I think it was on sale, and the developers or whoever runs the Twitter account for the game was posting about it, and they're like, you should try our game. And I don't know, I guess I was bored, and I was like, yeah, fuck it. I went and I bought the game, I tried it, and genuinely very fun. I'm very respectful to like survival horror and horror movies. It's jam-packed with references and stuff like that. While also being like fun. The movement's good, the shooting mechanics are good. I think like the items that you find can shake up and you can get cool builds going. There's a ton of unlockables that feel worth it. Like there are, I forget how many playable characters, but I want to say maybe 12 playable characters, maybe 14 even. And all of those playable characters also have a ton of alternate outfits that are really good looking. One of the main characters that you have in the beginning of the game has an outfit where she dresses like Ashley from Resident Evil 4. And stuff like that. There's so many little things to unlock. So if you have a character and you enjoy their playstyle, then you have a reason to get all their costumes. And then maybe in the process of getting all that character's costumes, you unlock a new character that you like, and rinse and repeat. It feels like genuinely, it feels like a very, very good blend of Enter the Gungeon and Binding of Isaac. Like it feels like it's somewhere kind of in that spectrum, and it's really good. The music is bumping. It's just, it's great stuff. I haven't played it for overly long. I've done a couple like completed runs where I beat the final boss, but I haven't done a lot of like the extra stuff. I played for like 4.5 hours. I should play more because it's genuinely very good. It's fun as like a little thing to do with your hands. It's fun as a thing to really try and complete. It's just great. I think it's a very solid game. Let's move on. Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I guess we'll just do good as well. I won't try and complicate anymore. There was just a period of time over, well, when was this? I don't know, just over the summer where I got really into Marvel vs. Capcom 3 tournaments for some reason. Like I just kept watching tournaments. And I don't know, eventually at some point I was like, yeah, fuck it. I bought it for me and Austin and we played it together. We were really bad, but I wanted to play it for myself, and I was watching tournaments, and I don't know, it was just nice. It was nice to actually just sit down and try something and try and learn a new game. It doesn't control the way that I thought it would based on the tournament gameplay that I had seen. I think simultaneously I like the way it controls more than how I thought it would. It's a lot simpler than you think, but I think under the surface it's also very complicated. It's kind of like Melee. And my opinions on Smash Bros. Melee are the way that, like, it's same, like, the way that it looks like it's being played at high levels is not how the game feels at all. And so it's impressive how people make it look like it plays so different. Maybe I'm just talking crazy. But it simultaneously feels, as a new player, it feels simple, yet very complicated. Oh god. I don't know, I also kind of bought it just to like play around with Dante and Virgil, and Virgil being one of like the strongest fighting game characters around. Oh my god, he is really good. X Factor Virgil, something else. I remember I was doing matches with Austin, and he had me beat down, like, I was on Virgil and he had all of his characters, and I made that comeback just because Virgil's that crazy. All of his moves cover like half the screen for some reason. It's ridiculous. There's a lot of goofy things in that game, like Morrigan is really silly. Some of Doctor Doom's moves are really silly. But I don't know, I love Marvel vs. Capcom. I think the game has such a strong, especially Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I think there's such a strong like visual identity that's, I don't know, it resonates with me, and makes it look so good and feel so good, and it's just so cool seeing all those characters in a setting together. I appreciate it. How long did I play Marvel vs. Capcom for? Let's see. I think, if I remember correctly, it's maybe about like 8-ish hours. Only 3.2. I thought I played way longer than that. Anyways, but I had fun with it. I always like having a little fighting game on rotation. It's not on my rotation right now. That's a different game that we'll get to, which it's right there. We might as well do it. Fighters. I'm way better at Dragon Ball Fighters because I've been playing it. Well, that's not true. I've played it when it was new, on and off. I'm not like good at it, but I'm much better. It's also way easier to pick up. But the reason I got back into it, the reason a lot of my friends actually, we all kind of picked it back up at the same time, and we were playing against each other, and it was just a very fun couple of weeks, is because they announced that they were adding new characters. They're gonna add Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku. I don't know when, soon I think, but it's just crazy how the game, for a while, for what, like 3-ish years, was kind of dead in the water. Everyone kind of thought they moved on, and then boom, they come back with their cock on the table, and it's like, yep, new characters, new patch notes, new everything. So the game's kind of revitalized again, and that's really exciting. So I've been playing it a lot, on and off these days, trying to pick up back up, trying to remember how my characters work and how to do shit. And when Daima Goku comes out, I will be there. I will be playing it again. And I'm really looking forward to that. I really want to, before that happens, I want to get better at playing Super Baby 2, because he's very fun. Trunks is on my team no matter what, at any point in time. And I want to get better at Android 17, because he's also very fun. But yeah, and it was fun. Austin and I got back on Fighters. We got Jacob and Andrew to get on Fighters too. And hopefully when Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku comes out and we're back on it again, we'll get even more people on it. We'll rope a lot more people into it. Let's talk about the other Dragon Ball game now. Gekishin Squadra. So similar to Marvel Rivals, I didn't think I would like Gekishin Squadra because I've played a MOBA before. I played Pokemon Unite when it was new, and I did not like Pokemon Unite. I really didn't. I don't remember why. It's been way too long, but I don't know. It just didn't click with me. So I was hesitant to try Squadra, but, you know, it's free, so I might as well, right? Like, I hopped on it, and, it's definitely, I think, intentionally so, because it's a Dragon Ball game, and Dragon Ball's a very big IP. They want it to be accessible. Bandai wants it to be accessible to as many people as possible, so as far as MOBAs go, it's very dumbed down and very simple, but I think that works out in its favor, because I like it. I think it's solid, enjoyable fun, something nice to do with my hands while I'm like listening to music or something. I think what I like about it the most is the ways in which it actually like respects Dragon Ball as an IP and as a franchise, and pays homage to the series. I think visually the game is stunning. I think the actual 3D character models for all the characters are the best in any Dragon Ball game, period. They look so good. It is a free game, and they, you know, being free, they have like emotes and stuff that you can get for the characters. But the emotes that they do release are so cool because they're all references to the series, and they look really good. So unfortunately, I've tried to get a couple, you know, and they were, okay, I don't know, this has never happened before in any Dragon Ball game, because usually Bandai's really oddly tight-knit about, like, how much customization you're allowed to give, Goku, for example. But in Gekishin Squadron, for some reason, they're just allowed to do whatever they want to the characters. Right now, in game, they have a skin for Goku where he's in a full Santa costume, and every character also has a free version of themselves where they're just wearing a Santa hat. One of the characters they've released recently was a Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, where he has a skin that you can buy for real money, where he still wears his like jacket while he's Super Saiyan 4, which normally he doesn't have. But it's interesting to see like how much they've been allowed to experiment with like what the characters are wearing. It's very cool. I like it honestly mostly for that, because it's very fun to see how they portray certain characters and whatnot. In terms of like the actual MOBA gameplay, I'm really ass, but it is fun. Sometimes, and especially lately, they added a character, Ultimate Gohan, who is a problem, which they're going to nerf because he's way too good in that he just has almost full control over your own movement. He can stun you for multiple seconds, he can force you to run away, and it's just not fun because you have no agency over it. He just destroys you. I'm definitely like, the skill level that I'm at is very confusing and frustrating at times, because I'm good enough to do basic things and understand like when I should go capture the tower and when I should go farm some XP, but at the same time I'm not good enough to understand why I win or lose like team fights sometimes. I can't wrap my like I don't know the very specifics of it. And I find that Gekishin games can either be determined very early or very late. Most often very early. If your early game against the other team just does not go well, you're cooked. It's over, right? Most of the time, at least. And, you know, again, at the skill level I'm at, when my early game sometimes goes for perfect, or my early game sometimes goes terrible, I can't really I don't have a good explanation as to why. And so it's just frustrating sometimes, because it's like, well, we're fucked. But again, I recognize that that's probably also a skill issue, unless Ultimate Gohan is in the question. Otherwise, yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed Gekishin. I have 40 hours in it, actually. I've played that a lot. They're releasing, at the time that I'm recording this, they are releasing a new character tonight, Broly, and I will be playing for that. I will be there. So yeah, that'll be fun. But yeah, no, Gekishin is cool beans. There's one more thing I want to say. The biggest problem with the game right now is you're in a team of 4. There is no way to communicate to your team with words. You can only ping the map. That's it. So solo queuing Gekishin is just a miserable experience, and I only ever play when I have Austin with me. That is the #1 problem with the game right now. They need to fix that. Otherwise, solid stuff. Yume Nikki, good. Yume Nikki is a shortish, I think like 5-hour little game where there's not really any like narrative presented to you. You just wake up in a room, and then you go into these weird dream worlds and try to collect, well, I forget what were they called, but it was like 24 or so little collectible items that change your appearance. And once you have them all, the game ends. I won't say how the game ends, but it ends. Because the game's ending actually kind of gives sort of some semblance of meaning to the narrative and what you were doing. It's not a very, like, it's an RPG Maker game. It's not very, like, engaging mechanically, but I think it's engaging just off, like, the raw uniqueness and creativity of the different kinds of dream worlds that you enter. And almost every dream world also has, like, some kind of sub-world that you stumble into that sometimes they get weirder and weirder and crazier, and the music can either be really good or really unsettling. Like, the game can be creepy if it wants it to be. But it's not a horror game. There's no jump scares or anything, or you can't, like, die. But sometimes the game just is creepy, and sometimes the game's very pretty and beautiful. And so it's I really appreciate it just for the fact that it's just this weird, unique, odd game that you just get thrown into, and I had no context going into it. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know nothing about it, and I spent hours just walking around. Eventually, I pulled up a guide to find the last couple things I needed to end the game, but those like first couple hours I was playing completely blind. It was just like, what the fuck is this? And I was saying that constantly, and I was taking screenshots and I was sending it to my friends. I was like, what is this game about? And it felt very special to me. I quite liked that. I don't really know much else to say about it, but I think it's a cute, nifty little game. I think it's free on Steam, which is also why I played it. But yeah. Okay, oh god, I don't know if I want to do it yet. I don't want to do it yet. I'm not doing it yet. We're talking about Peggle first. Peggle. Peggle's good. I also beat it in like an afternoon. The ball dropping is very satisfying. I like some of the special moves the characters did. There's not much to say, really. It's fucking Peggle. But maybe one day I'll play the game more and more and become like this crazy, wicked Peggle god. And my shots will be so calculated, but I don't know, it was fun. I think Austin bought it for me as kind of like a joke, but I sat down and I played it start to finish, and on the last level there's like a helix, a double helix that kind of spins up, and if you shoot your ball right, you can catch it at the bottom of the helix, and the helix will like elevator it up while it's hitting all of the pins, and that shit, I did that and that shit was satisfying. That's what I remember most about Peggle, that specific moment, because that felt so good. But yeah, man, Peggle's cool. Fly Night! We need another tier. I think Fly Night was neat. I wouldn't say it was like... It doesn't cross the line of good for me, because I think it just kind of drags. It's still short, but the movement and the combat mechanics feel very novel and fun in like kind of the first half, but once you get to the later half and things get a bit harder, it's just kind of like it's Fly Night is just this little kind of like RuneScape, like visually RuneScape inspired, like classic MMO RPG kind of little single player. Actually, I think it could be multiplayer if you wanted it to. Yeah, like looter MMO kind of experience where you linearly kind of walk from point A to point B, trying to vanquish the great evil that's affecting all the flies. Specifically, it was like this moth lady that stole everybody's wings. But I respect the visuals a lot, and the music was very cute. I did like, you know, the satisfaction of finding good loot, like a cool sword or a cool helmet, but the combat did kind of feel a little, I don't want to say awkward, because I see what they were doing, I see what they're going for, and I think it worked. I think maybe it just didn't click with me a ton. It was very dependent on like mouse, like you used, if you're playing with mouse at least, like I had to swing my mouse in the direction I wanted to swing, and sometimes I was just kind of like, I don't know. I really don't have much to say about it. It was just short and sweet, and it's a cute little charming game, but I don't think it really like wowed me and didn't leave me with like this crazy new outlook on life. It was just kind of like, yeah, man, good for you. You know what, here, I think I'm gonna... Neat sounds a little mean. This is good. This is great. Peggle gets to be good. And Community gets to be good. And... yeah. That looks good. Yeah, I really don't have much to say about it. We're getting to some big boys here. Nubby's Number Factory is similar to you know, it's another kind of like, so actually, funny enough, I'm glad I played Peggle. It's like Balatro Peggle. Think about it like that. So, it's good. I think it has the good sound design. It has funky visuals that are fun to look at. I think I like the actual like Peggle mechanics and like choosing how to shoot your ball to get the most points. Engaging, it leaves you making decisions. I think Nubby's Number Factory genuinely does understand what made Balatro really good, and successfully replicates and puts their own twist on that formula, with its own unique visual identity, and ways of scoring. Fun fact: the very first run I ever did of Nubby's Number Factory, I scored so high I crashed the game. I made it that long, and I haven't played a lot of Nubbies honestly since then. I think for me, I don't like it more than Balatro, and it's like if I need that kind of same game to give me something to do with my hands, rack up big numbers, I'm just gonna play Balatro. Yeah, I've played it for 6 hours to be fair, but I like it. I think it's also kind of, I think it's like Clover Pit, where since the last time I played it, it's gotten a lot of updates and a lot of content that I'm unaware of, and I don't know the quality of or how it changes the game. So I'm kind of talking from I don't think I was playing it on release. Maybe I was. But maybe my opinion might be a little outdated. Ooh, my lights are flickering. You see that? That was crazy. It's solid. No, I like it. I think I think it's a good game. It understands what makes the formula work. I guess I do hope that in the content that's released, there's a little more build variety, because I also kind of found myself doing the same kind of thing over and over again when I was playing it. But maybe that was just me being a hard ass after crashing the game and just trying to do it again. But yeah, no, it's solid and good. All right. Dungeons, Degenerates, and Gamblers is a game I literally played for an hour last night, and it seems I'm here. Since I only played it for an hour, I'm gonna say unfinished, but really deserves my time because the hour I played was fun. I think it also understands what makes like repeatable deck building fun. I think Blackjack is a good choice of a game to add twists to and make goofy and make repeatable, because Blackjack is a very repeatable game. From what I saw, a lot of like the special, card effects that affect and add twists to Blackjack were unique and cool, and I could see the potential for build variety. Yeah, I liked it. I don't remember the music being overly notable. I think my only criticism is, and I don't really know how I would tackle this, but I think the game is very fast, even on like the base speed, and that's good. But on my first, on my first couple of runs, it just sometimes felt a little like I wasn't keeping up with all the information being thrown at me, because while you're playing Blackjack and trying not to bust, your opponent is too. You're trying to beat the other person next to you. And they have special cards, and so sometimes it's like when you're when you're brand new, the game doesn't I may have missed like an optional tutorial, but in my experience the game didn't really give you one. And so you're just kind of thrown in there. So, sometimes, especially in one of my runs that went a bit longer than others, it was like my opponent was throwing down these wacky cards that I hadn't seen. I'm throwing my own wacky cards that I don't remember the effects of, and it's just like my eyes were darting back and forth between the sides of my screen, reading what they do and trying to comprehend it, and it's like, oh my god. So it felt a little overwhelming, but I think that's maybe more just because I was literally playing for 1 hour instead of like the game's fault. But yeah, I think it was very solid. Seemingly like a lot of potential. I think it looks like a very good video game. It was cheap. It's on Steam Winter Sale right now. It's like $10. So I recommend, if you want to play Blackjack but it's silly and goofy, there you go. Okay, we're really getting down to the wire here. Mario Party 4 doesn't really belong, need to belong here. I played it. I own it now, and I played it for like an hour with my friends, and then they begged me to stop playing because I was destroying them, and they wanted to watch Smiling Friends. I need to play more. That's it. Seemingly, from what I could gather, I think the board design compared to maybe games like 6 or 7 was a bit weaker. We were playing on the Goomba Gala board, like the one with the roulette in the middle. Whatever. It definitely doesn't seem as good as Mario Party 6, but I think it still seems like it's decent. I don't know. I need more time with it. Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations also goes there. I booted this one up because I was on a Discord call at like 3 a.m. with my buddy Harmony, and she was reminiscing and a little disappointed on the times that I played Ace Attorney for like Ari, my buddies Ari and Austin, and I streamed it for them on Discord and like voice acted the game. Voice acted like I'm professional, but I voiced all the characters, and she was like, man, I'm sad I missed that. And I was like, oh, I still haven't played the third one. Here we go. So her and I did the first case voiced for her, and now we need to we need to do the rest of it. I'm talking to you. Anyways, we need to do the rest of it because I really like I'm aware of the cases that are coming up. I know the story. I've seen them before, but it's nice. It's just fun doing it with your own voice. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Moving on. Earthbound, it's the same thing. I'm replaying it because it's my second favorite game, and I had the urge to. And also I wanted to stream it for my friends, so that's what I've been doing. I've been streaming it for predominantly Austin, and we're in Threed right now, trying to get Jeff over to save Ness and Paula. And yeah, man, it's as good as I remember it being. My opinion has not changed. It's genuinely fantastic. I know Austin is enjoying it because of the witty, funny dialogue that still holds up and is still funny. I'm still enjoying it because of the fun battle mechanics and interesting, unique enemy designs and aesthetics. It's good ass game, man. I truly love it, but I've not replayed it far enough to have more of an opinion than the fact that I still love it. I'm also really trying to go fast here because we have 3 behemoths to talk about. Oh, 2. Okay, House of Necrosis is also sort of like an RPG, not an RPG, fucking roguelike kind of thing. It's emulating that survival horror, like PS1 Resident Evil survival horror style, very much paying respects to it, but the twist on it is that it's a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game. It's a survival horror Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game with roguelike elements, and a ton of love for survival horror. And I've only played... Let's see, I haven't really played much of it. Where would that be? Am I blind? Totally missed it. Am I? There it is, I saw it. 76 minutes, it's nothing. But the little bit that I played was genuinely very fun. I think it's seemingly going to be a little grindy because I need to like get enough elements that carry over between runs to make myself strong enough to beat like the first boss. But it genuinely has a lot of heart. In between runs, you have this small little hub world, like mansion and like entryway that you walk around, and the game uses tank controls, and I think that's really sweet. But yeah, I really need to play it more to have a better opinion on it, but from what I played, good stuff. I think my only small critique is in a game that's like very replayable and you're kind of going through the start over and over again. I wish the music was a little like better or more present, so give me something to kind of listen to while I do the same thing for the billionth time. But otherwise, good stuff. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. I'm goofing around. I don't know. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is a game that I have like 700 hours on my Nintendo Switch because I played it when I was a lot younger and just got sucked into it because there is like 10 years worth of content in that game. And they for some reason, it's old as shit, but they keep adding brand new DLC to it and new stuff all the time. It's still being supported. There's still DLC that has to come out, and they won't let it die. And I was sucked into it long ago, and recently, Austin told me that he was like, man, I kind of want to play Xenoverse again, but like on my PC so I can get mods and stuff. And then it went on a really good sale, and I got it for the both of us. And we've both been playing it, like, all week. All, like, the last, like, week and a half, even. Like, we're just sucked in, again, like we're kids. And it's just really bad, man. I don't know. I'm scared. I'm scared of what it's doing to me. I have played it for, like, 30 hours straight this last week. And I don't even think it... Like, the core gameplay is just okay. It's just fine. It's like this... It's like... I would call it old at this point. It's an old anime arena fighter. Like, it's just okay. But the amount of customization and personalization that you can put on your created character is so overflowing with content that I'm sucked in because I want to make my guy. I want to give my OC good fits and, like, thematically appropriate movesets. And I want to, like, beat all the content so I can deck out my guy. And once I'm done decking out my guy, then I'm done. I don't even do anything else. I'm satisfied. But my god, man, it's like I'm sucked back in, and I'm really ashamed of it. Sorry, it's in the goofing around here. I should have moved my camera a bit. But holy moly. Okay, well, we can't really avoid this conversation now. I played Elden Ring this year. Now, I tried playing Elden Ring back in 2023, and I played for about 10-ish hours maybe, and I gave up because I didn't like it. And I was trying to, and then earlier this year I was talking to my buddies on Discord, and I was explaining why it didn't connect with me, and then I was flaming Austin because he had been playing Persona 3 Reload and hadn't played it in a couple months. And I was poking fun at him because he never beats games. And I told him, if you beat Persona 3, I will play Elden Ring and beat it. So, a couple months go by, and eventually, he does beat Persona 3. Now I owe him. So I load up Elden Ring, and here we go. This journey was... I only finished it about a couple weeks ago. It was an 87, well, maybe more like 80-hour journey for me. Boy. Elden Ring is one of the most infuriating, frustrating, dog shit, abhorrently just annoying good video games I have ever played. Okay, let's start with what I like. 1. In terms of world design and art direction, this is one of the most beautiful, gorgeous, and cool-looking fantasy worlds I've ever seen. 2. Combat, if it's against the right boss, is extremely fun and addictive. 3. There is a lot of variety in weapons and cool things that you can do. That has an asterisk behind it because I also have problems with that. 4. Monster design, really good. 5. Music, fantastic. That's it. Okay, moving on. I think Elden Ring is one of the worst open world games I've ever played. I think its open world is cluttered and filled and spaced out horribly with items that are not worth your time to pick up. Specifically, most of the cooking items, And I think the game does a horrible job at explaining what items do and what they're good for and why you should use them. And your inventory is constantly cluttered with a ton of bullshit you don't care about. And it makes it so easy for an item that you do need or that you should pay attention to get lost in the sea of shit that you just don't remember. Because it's also... Okay, let's talk specifically about the, I think it's the Dectus medallion. The two halves of it, that when you put them together, it gives you the secret elevator that takes you to Melania, right? You get the first half of that medal in a castle in Limgrave. Now, the item description of that medal does tell you what it's for. It does tell you the Grand Lift of Rold, but in the time between you're at that castle in Limgrave and then you're actually at the Grand Lift of Rold, you don't remember that you have that? You don't remember what it is? And I think there's just a lot of shit like that where it's so easy to forget or get lost in what you have. It's so frustrating. Simultaneously, I appreciate the vast variety of weapons and armor and spells that you find. However, unfortunately, depending on what you commit your build to be, most of the time, like a third of the items that you find, you can't use. If you find a magic weapon and you're doing a strength dex build, that sucks. You can't use it. Now, you may respond to me and say, well, just use a larval tier and go respec your stats. That's great. Larval tiers are a limited resource. Why? Why in God's name would you make that a limited would you make respecing your stats a limited resource in a game with that many items and that much build variety? Why? Anyways, and let's say, for example, you get a new magic wand. Sorry, I was thinking about the Tyler Creator song. You get a new magic wand, and you go respec your stats to be able to use this wand. You give yourself the intelligence, you give yourself the faith, and then you fucking hate the wand. Boom. You lost 2 larval tiers because now you want to respec back to what you were before. I don't understand why they would not let you, at any point in time, move your stats down and get refunded so that you can relocate, reallocate them to at least try the weapon for 2 seconds. It's just like, I understand the end result would be the same if you didn't like the weapon, you respec your stats twice, but just the fact that it is a limited resource that you need to find, you also need to then go to a specific place to do it, and you know, all of that. I think that is indicative of Elden Ring being designed in a way where the intent is just to be inconvenient for the sake of being inconvenient. Let's also talk about how ass the horse is to control. The movement when you're not in combat is not good. Moving around and running around or riding your horse when you're not in a fight is not fun. It's not fun to traverse the open world. It's boring. You can't do anything. You don't have fun movement options to fuck around with. You are just walking on your horse, and if you jump with your horse, you lose all your momentum. Your horse can't jump, and sometimes the game asks you to platform. It doesn't end well. And it's just like, you're exploring this open world, which it's boring to walk around because your horse sucks, and you move slow as shit, and your horse feels like it moves slow as shit, and then sometimes you just find things you can't use or you don't care about, like the cookbooks. What I found really interesting, when I told my coworkers that I was playing Elden Ring, and they love Elden Ring, the first thing both of them told me in individual conversations with them was to go look at the interactive IGN map to find all the cool things, to go see where the cool things were so I could go get them. Neither of them told me, oh man, you should explore this area because it's really cool. They just told me where the cool things were. I think that's indicative of the open world being designed like shit, and just not like, I think it's just like so intentionally vague that it just makes the idea of trying to figure things out on your own so annoying. Especially NPC side quests, where the NPCs can be fucking anywhere. And sometimes the map tells you where they are, but if they're moving from halfway across the map, oh my god, I don't know where they are. And again, most of the time they don't give you anything worth a damn. I did the side quest with the Scarlet Rot lady, where you give her the arm that you find in like the Poison Castle. And my buddy Austin, he told me that the reward for that was that she'd come help you in a fight. A fight that I already did! So why did I do it? Elden Ring also frustrates me because there is, like, there's lore and story, but it's not lore and story that you as a player are actually aware of without the help of a wiki. I have no idea, without looking it up, I have no idea what any of the people around me are, who they are, why they're doing what they're doing, why I care. Well, I don't care. Actually, I never care. I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing as a player character. I can't get immersed if the only thing the game has ever told me is go find the Elden Ring. Like, okay, I guess I'll go find the Elden Ring. Why? Why do I want to do this? Why do I want to kill all these legendary figures like Radon to get the Elden Ring? I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't get why it's engaging. I can't get immersed in it because there's nothing to immerse myself into. I'm just walking around a video game world. I've said this before, and my friends flame me for it because it's a stupid ass quote. But when I play Elden Ring, I feel like I'm playing a video game. I don't feel like I'm immersed in this awesome fantasy world. I'm immersed maybe sometimes because it looks cool, but I don't know why it looks cool. I don't know why things are the way they are. Because the game doesn't tell you things unless it's through niche little lore bits or item descriptions or just people theorizing on Reddit. And I hate that. It bothers me. There's nothing for me to sink my teeth to in Elden Ring. The only reason that I sat there and I played it was because 1, I promised I would, and 2, there were certain boss fights I enjoyed and wanted to prove that I could beat, like Melania. Otherwise, Elden Ring is just not worth your time. It's not worth your time at all. I think certain okay, and so sometimes the game is extremely frustrating when boss fights like Fire Giant, or sometimes the Gargoyles, or what else? Or Ulcerated Erdtree. Those enemies are so much bigger than your player character. And the camera control in Elden Ring is so hot garbage. It is so bad that most of the time when you're fighting a giant enemy, you can't see what they're doing. You're staring at like one part of them. The Fire Giant, I'm staring at your foot and hoping you're not gonna punch me. The Ulcerated Erdtree, I am trying to hit your abdomen right now and I hope you don't swing around and hit me. It's annoying. And sometimes these boss fights are better on your horse. Terrible camera control plus awful controlling horse is awful. Just a terrible combination. And it's not fun. And guess what the final boss is? Radagon is fun. Austin just DM'd me on Steam. He wants me to get on Discord. Here. Oh my god, you can see all of our Xenoverse 2 invites. I'll reply to him right here, right now. Not now, Pookie. Okay, sorry. Anyways. The final boss. The first phase, Radagon, very fun. Good boss fight. Love that boss fight. The second phase, the fucking Celestial Beast, or whatever, is a giant enemy with bad camera control, and it moves so far across the arena, the only way you can catch up to it is on your horse. The final boss of Elden Ring is giant enemy on horse. You had to be fucking kidding me. It is one of the most disappointing games oh, poor guy sent the blue orb. It is one of the most disappointing games that has been like touted as this amazing thing in my lifetime. It's fine. It's just okay. It is not that good. It won Game of the Year in 2022. Here's my hot take about Elden Ring. If you put Elden Ring in any other Game of the Year, if you put Elden Ring in the running for 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 23, 24, or 25, Elden Ring loses. It's just frustrating. It is the most 6 out of 10 game I've ever played. It's just fine. It's fun when the boss fights are designed well, but when you're not fighting a boss, exploration sucks and is lame, and when you're fighting a boss that sucks, it sucks. It's just not good. There's no reason for me to want to do NPC side quests because I don't care about the NPCs because the game doesn't give me a reason to. They don't talk to me, they don't tell me much. The NPC I cared about the most was the blacksmith guy because he upgraded my weapons and I talked to him sometimes. That's it. Otherwise, it's just boring. I don't care about Ranny. Why do I care about doing Ranny's quest? Why does she matter? I didn't know that all of like Godfrey and Margot were all and Radon were all related until Austin read out the wiki to me. He read the wiki to me. I don't know why I emphasized the to me part. Of course he did. He read the wiki, and that's how both of us found out that they were related. I didn't know that. It's not like I wasn't paying attention. Maybe sometimes I wasn't, but like if they, I don't know. It's just frustrating and overrated and only good sometimes. It's only good on the boss fight. I need like its own separate tier for this. I'm putting Elden Ring in Whiffed. I'm not even giving it the time. No, it it deserves a tier. I'm giving it its own top tier. It's just like the most frustrating good video game ever. I don't understand. I can't. I really wanted to like it a lot more than I do. I really wanted to so bad, but it just pisses me off. Anyways, I also played Elden Ring Night Rain, and you know what? Elden Ring Night Rain's good. I like Elden Ring Night Rain. I think Elden Ring Night Rain is better than Elden Ring in every single way because it takes all the parts of Elden Ring that I didn't like and it gets rid of them. 1, the movement, actually fun. You have a very fast sprint. You can wall climb. It's great. 2, there's like there's a bit of a narrative. Like there's like people tell you lore. Fantastic. Multiplayer. You can play with your friends. That's so fun. You can play by yourself too. It's just combat. It's all combat, and the combat is the best part. It has characters with presets, with builds ready to go that you can hop in at any moment and try them all if you want. You can experience everything super easy and convenient, and there's runes there's little relics that you can use to make your own little builds on the side of that. It's good. It's actually like good. It's better than Elden Ring in every way. It just has all the good parts of Elden Ring. And it has good boss fights from other Souls games. So, like, awesome. Night Rain's a good game. I like Night Rain. Fuck Elden Ring. Okay, and finally, we have Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This is a doozy as well. I've not finished this game. So I guess, by default, I'm gonna give this its own tier as well. Come to think of it, you need not finished but could be legendary. Right, okay. What color do I give this fella? I wish they had more color options here, because the way that I do these things, there's not enough. Let's do another red. So yeah, I'm not finished Expedition 33. Story-wise, I'm basically just a little past the end of, or I guess the start of Act 2. But I haven't really made any progress in Act 2. I've just been doing a lot of the side content now that I have Eskia to move around with. Okay, I'm just gonna get like all the weird controversies out of the way first. I recognize that the Game Awards this year were painfully boring and drab because Clair Obscur swept, and I have always said that I've always said that I wish when a game is nominated for Game of the Year, they just don't appear in any other category so that they don't sweep. I understand that's kind of stupid in the context of an award show, but the Game Awards are a fake-ass award show anyways. They're just... Everybody knows that they're watching it for the reveals. It's not supposed to be... I don't know, whatever, right? I think the sweep was simultaneously, like, deserved, but very annoying to watch. But the biggest annoyance coming out of that was people blindly hating on the game because it robbed Silksong or Blueprints or Death Stranding 2 or Silent Hill F of their awards, and I think that's just a stupid thing to get caught up on, because again, the Game Awards don't fucking matter, man. I stand by that I think it did deserve every award that it got. Secondly, there has been a lot of buzz about the game using generative AI. This is not as bad as people are making it sound. It is literally, to my understanding, and maybe my own information is wrong, to my understanding, the generative AI used in Expedition 33 was a singular newspaper asset from Unreal Engine that was used in like 2022 and accidentally made its way to the end of development, and as soon as it was noticed, it was taken out of the game. I have seen people online saying things along the lines of, oh, Expedition 33 used Gen AI? Now I can finally hate on it for a real reason. Or people being like, man, I just bought Expedition 33. Now I have to refund. I hate generative AI as much as the next person, but I think in the situation where it was used one time as an asset placeholder in 2022 and accidentally kept until the end of the development and then removed, I don't think they like it either. I think it was a genuine mistake. I think that's fine. I think it's silly to sit on like a high horse and act like you haven't, you know, like, especially back in 2022, it's like, come on, you played around with fucking Dolly, right? People are overblowing it, and I think it's exaggerated because of the Game Awards sweep and stuff like that. It's just been very tiring to watch all the discussion around Expedition 33, because I do genuinely think like the upbringing of this game, and it's like kind of underdog. I don't know if underdog is the right word, but I like the idea of its journey. And to get to the point to where it is now is genuinely very impressive. Now to talk about the actual game. In terms of where I am in the story, it has already made me cry once. The end of Act 1 made me cry. I'm very attached to the characters. I think they're interesting, intriguing. Specifically, I like Mael a lot, and I think the game wants me to. I think she's kind of the main character. Verso intrigues me. Gustav, mwah. Sweetheart. I love Gustav, and I love the performance Charlie Cox gives him. I'm not huge on Lune. I think she needs a little bit of work. I love Esquier. And Ciel is newish. She also needs a little bit of work before I'm like super sold on her. But I like the setup of the story. I like the motivations. I like the reasons why I'm out there. I like, you know, I like where the plot might go, and I'm excited for what might happen next. Gameplay wise, I think Expedition 33 is like very clearly respectful and understanding of what makes like a JRPG very fun. I think it particularly excels in build variety, and there's a lot of different ways that you can choose to build your characters. Specifically, I had Gustav. I have maxed his crit stat. Not maxed, but until his crit chance was 50%, I upgraded none of his attributes except for luck, while holding a luck scaling sword. And what that basically meant was no matter what I did, if I did, say, his move Lumiere Assault, I would get his overcharge immediately because crits add extra stuff to that charge. I love that. That kind of min-maxing shit I find hilarious and fun, and it's what makes fun games fun for me. Um, the actual JRPG mechanics are also very well done. I like the things they add to it. I like the free aim. I really like the parry. I'm stubborn in that I will never dodge an attack. I will only get hit or I will parry it. No in between. That's been a very fun experience for me. Um, I I I like the enemy design. I like the world design. I think Unreal Engine 5 is not a good engine, and does kind of hold the game down visually a little bit. It makes things bloom a lot. Character animations can be a little weird and stilted sometimes, especially in cutscenes where they're talking. Um, but yeah, overall, I think Expedition 33 is shaping up to be a fantastic video game. I really need to keep playing it and seeing where it goes. But I do think it's very special, and I can tell as I'm playing it. I can see the love put into it, and I can see the inspirations it draws from, and I think I haven't played it in about a week because I've just been so tired of hearing about it, specifically like online through people complaining about it. It's just like, just shut up, just shut up. I think I do truly think it is about to be as special as people made it seem to be before people switched up. I don't know. I'm saying people like everyone in the world did, but it's just Twitter, and that's a very small minority. But it's been what I've been seeing a lot of online, so... Anyways, yeah, Expedition 33 could shape up to be one of my favorite games, I think. I'm not far enough in to really make that judgment, but I have genuinely been enjoying myself a lot. One other criticism that I have, and it's very minor, but every time you pick anything up in the overworld at all, a character will always say, "Ooh, nice," or "That could be useful," and it's like, I get it. You don't have to say it every time. What else? The music. Fantastic. A lot of the voice acting is incredible. I like a lot of the side content. I like the collectibles, or like not collectibles, but I like the side things you do to get good items. I I really do like almost everything about this game. I just kind of wish it was not an Unreal Engine 5 game. And that's about it. Hopefully by the time I finish it, I will have a more deep and thoughtful understanding and opinion about the game. But yeah, I like it. That's kind of where I am with it. And that's the last game that I played this year. This is the list. I will do a quick little, I'll do a slow scroll, and then I'm gonna rapid speed talk about games I'm gonna play, or hopefully want to play, in the coming year. Wow. Did I change anything here? These are not ordered, by the way. I just threw these. Yeah. Yeah. Sweet. I'm gonna download that. Moving on. Oh god. Expedition 33, we're gonna put at the top. As you already know, I'm currently playing it. We're gonna do A tier is immediately next. B tier is when I feel like it. Maybe. We're gonna shift D tier up. And then we're gonna change the colors. Okay. So yeah, we're currently playing Expedition 33. I've kind of already... We're good. Immediately next when it's out, Resident Evil 9, baby! I am so fucking hyped for this game. I'm so hyped for Daddy Leon. I am also excited for Grace's campaign. I really like what they're gonna do. Where Leon's campaign is kind of more in line with like Resident Evil 4, 6, 5, like action kind of, and then Grace is more like 2, 3, and the first game like survival horror-ish. I think if done right, and if both campaigns are really good, it will be the perfect Resident Evil game. And maybe that's saying a lot, but having both of those styles in a single Resident Evil game is going to make it infinitely replayable and so addictive. I'm so fucking excited, and that is soon. That is in the next 2 months. I can't wait. It feels like this game came really fast. Yeah, we're gonna rapid fire this one because there's less for me to say here. Did I forget one of? I forgot one of them. I forgot the literal only one that I wanted to play immediately next. Where is it? God damn it. Alright, hold on. I gotta fix this. There it is. Boom. That did not import well. I'm playing the entire Metal Gear Solid series. All of it. I know, last year, Metal Gear Solid 3 was in its own little like, I'm so sorry, I need to finish you. I don't care. I'm playing all of them now. Because I got my hands on the Metal Gear Solid, like, I forget what it's called specifically, the collector's edition box that has Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3 in it. And it puts Metal Gear Solid 1 in like a PS2 case, even though it's a PS1 game. I got my hands on that. I own Metal Gear Solid 5 on Steam. I'll have to find some way to play 4. That's going to be a bit tricky. But I'm going to play them in release order. I'm not going to play them in chronological order. I know that's kind of frowned upon. Also, it just doesn't make a lot of sense in terms of like gameplay mechanics wise. I like seeing the way that gameplay mechanics evolve. I'm debating if I'm including like not only Metal Gear Solid. I'm debating if I'm doing Metal Gear 1 and 2 first. I might. I think. Maybe. I don't know. But I don't know. Lately I've been in this weird hyperfixation where all my feeds everywhere keep showing me Metal Gear stuff, and it's like, fuck, it's so cool, and I think it's so cool, and I like know from the bit I played of 3 that it is so cool, but I can't help but feel like one of those kind of guys where it's like one of those like stupid fans where it's like Metal Gear Solid fans when they actually have to play the games. Oh no! That's me right now, and I need to fix that. But anyways, I'm gonna play the Metal Gear series just like I did the Devil May Cry series. I'm fucking doing it. I'm doing all of them this year. I don't care. I need it done. I'm really excited to do that because it's just been in my head a lot lately. I'm gonna need one more row, I think. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna rapid fire this. So, like alongside while I'm playing the Metal Gear games, I do want to finish. I want to play and finish Silent Hill 3. I want to do Baldur's Gate, and I want to do BioShock for sure. BioShock, I picked up the entire series because it was on a very good deal on Steam. Now I just kind of have them, and you know, with a game like BioShock, it's always it's touted as one of the greatest games of all time, and you know, I need to be the judge of that. Except I trust that one to be way better than Elden Ring. Baldur's Gate 3, my dad gifted to me the other day just because I mentioned it offhand. Lately, I've been in a weird D&D kick. I've been watching like Critical Role and stuff like that. Like I've been craving playing a D&D campaign with my friends, but everyone's busy, and especially like when this started in my head, everyone's doing finals, right? So none of my friends can run a campaign. I don't want to DM. So I've just been in this weird D&D kick, and my only outlet so far has been Critical Role. But I recognize Baldur's Gate 3 will also be, hopefully, a very nice outlet for that to kind of bide my time until I'm actually in a campaign. Hopefully. And I need someone to start one. Anybody, please. All right. When I feel like it. So I'm gonna say alongside or after. I want Mother 3 in there as well. I've had my hands on a Game Boy Advanced for genuinely years now, and I have this copy of the Mother 3 fan translation put on a real cartridge, and it works. The only problem with the Game Boy Advance is that it's not backlit, and makes it kind of impossible to see. So sometime this year, what I want to do is I want to mod my Game Boy Advance to be backlit and maybe like swap out some buttons and customize it to my liking, which is expensive, which is why I'm not doing it right now. But it's something I want to do at some point this year. And when I do that, I'm playing Mother 3. Let's see. Wind Waker's on here twice. I don't know how that happened. I feel like Dead Space, Shadow of the Colossus, Tales of Symphonia, Undertale, Deltarune, all are gonna end up in... Yeah. So, I think those games are just kind of ones that I own and I would like to play. I've never played, I think interestingly, I've never played Undertale. Specifically, but I know everything about Undertale, right? For as big as it was. I'm not super, like, at this moment in time, I think the one thing to keep in mind when I'm making specifically this list of, like, games I want to play, this is how I feel right now. In a month, I might not give a fuck about Metal Gear. Who knows, right? But this is very subject to change. And I mean, when we look at the games that I said I would play in 2026, let's see. I did play Twilight Princess. I did finish Super Metroid, and I finished Final Fantasy Rebirth. I didn't touch 9 or 16. I didn't touch Klonoa. I didn't revisit any of these games. I still don't feel like playing Dave the Diver. I gave up on Pennies. I played a little bit of Paper Mario. I guess I technically started Trials and Tribulations. I've not touched Brothership. I've not touched Cyberpunk, and I've not touched Persona. And I haven't really thought about those games since I made this list. That's not fully true, but whoopsies. Ah! Don't look at that. Ah, no. Yeah, this is very like, this is a little time capsule of this moment right now. And I think like those games are definitely games, at least Dead Space and like Undertale for sure. I feel like those are games that are good for like spontaneous, like, yeah, fuck it, and I stream it on Discord kind of games. Tales of Symphonia is a commitment. That's if I'm in the mood. I have no idea if that'll happen. I think Final Fantasy IX is more likely because I really like the Black Mage guy and I want to play it just for him. Same with kind of Okami, Dark Souls. My friend Fox gifted me Dark Souls after I had been bitching about Elden Ring for like a month, and he was like, "You're playing this one." I said, "Okay." Shantae, Grim Fandango, Final Fantasy Tactics, Mario Galaxy, Silent Hill F, Resident Evil 4, Unbeatable. We'll get Unbeatable up, and Wind Waker. We'll get Dark Souls up, because that's probably going to happen this year. Yeah, Dark Souls, I kind of owe it to my friends, and I do genuinely want to see if I like the other Souls games more than Elden Ring, because I feel like, you know, they don't have, like, the open world that frustrates me. Hopefully, you know, it's more of the boss fights, and hopefully those boss fights are more fun. But we'll see. I really don't know. I don't want to be the guy that doesn't like FromSoft. I don't want to be that guy, but if I'm that guy, I'm that guy, right? But I gotta find out if I'm that guy. And that's how. Let's see, what else? I do want Final Fantasy 9. I want to play it for the Black Mage guy. That's about it. Final Fantasy Tactics genuinely just looks really good. And I've never played any kind of like real-time strategy game like Final Fantasy Tactics. I've never played not Elden Ring, God, Fire Emblem. So that would kind of be the first time I'm tipping my toes into that genre of game, and I'm very interested to see if I'd like it. I think, well, that's actually not true. I've played Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, so I think I know I'll like it. How about that? Okami was at the top of my list last year for games I want to play and potentially might play next, but I never got around to it. I never did, and I'm not feeling it as strongly right now. I think the reason that I had it up there last year is because they just revealed Okami 2, and I was kind of surprised that they didn't show anything for Okami 2 at this year's Game Awards. We haven't heard about it for genuinely over a full year now. We have heard nothing about it outside of when it was revealed. So yeah, I'm a little, my interest has waned a little bit in doing that, but I'm sure next time they show something of Okami 2, I'll be right back on it. It's like, oh, I gotta do it. Shantae, Half Genie Hero, just like a fun 2D platformer, and I've never played a Shantae game before, so I you know, it's a new experience, and I think I could probably knock it out in a day or two. Again, kind of just one fun game to throw on while I'm on a Discord call talking to somebody, or watching YouTube on the side, like one that I don't have to think about too hard. Grim Fandango just looks like a very fun game. I don't know actually what the gameplay is. I know nothing about it. I know nothing about the story. Just visually, it looks cool, and that's why I want to play it. At some point this year, I want to maybe replay the Mario Galaxy games, maybe before the movie comes out. Just so I'm like, I mean, I love them. They're some of my favorite games ever, so it's always fun to go back to them. And I love playing them, so I think it's about time. It's been a couple years since I've played them. I want to maybe play Wind Waker this year, coming off the heels of Twilight Princess. If I play the other GameCube Zelda game, I think I'll have a good time. The only thing that's kind of stopping me is the fact that it's not the HD version, and I won't have the really fast sale. That's the only thing that's holding me back. But I think if I can get over it quick. Silent Hill F, probably at some point. I bought it when it came out, and I just haven't touched it yet. Maybe after Silent Hill 3, maybe just at some point when I'm in a Silent Hill mood again. I was watching a YouTuber, John Wolf, play it when it came out, but eventually I think I stopped tuning in about a couple videos in, because eventually I was like, yeah, I'll play this for myself. I don't want spoilers. And I also still have never played original Resident Evil 4 in full. And that just feels like a bit of a crime. And now that I have like the CRT and my like setup is a lot better, I think it'll be a lot more fun if I did it now. So yeah, those are kind of like, that was very fast actually. Those are kind of all the games I'm eyeing up right now. I'm desperately thinking about Metal Gear Solid. I might even start it while I'm still playing Expedition 33. But yeah, that's what we're working with right now. So we're gonna download that one so I can send it to people later. This is my top 60. Woo! Let me realign this so it's easier to see. Maybe I zoom in a little bit here. Oh, that didn't help. Okay, I can full screen. Yeah, that works. This is my top 60. Let me. Oh god. So if you'll see, I added a couple games. Particularly, I added Silk Song at 11. I added Silent Hill 2 at 14. I added, what else did I add? Super Metroid, at whatever number that would be. I added Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I added Dragon Ball Fighters. I added Pikmin, and I added Mario Sunshine. I added Link Between Worlds. I added Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, I added Placid Plastic Duck Simulator, and I added Xenoverse 2. Honestly, okay, so everything under the top 3 tiers are not really in order anymore. I would say the first handful of games here, like everything up to Pokemon White 2 is ordered, and then after Pokemon White 2, I just gave up. I stopped ordering it. They're just in a random order. But yeah, that's everything that I added there. It's generally kind of the same. As I play more games, I'm gonna keep adding more and more stuff to it, but I'm never taking a game off it. Eventually, this will become my top 70, 80, 90, 100, and I'm just gonna keep going. I'm never gonna stop. Because it feels like a betrayal to stop shouting out a game that I care about. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say about that. Can I come back for air now? I'm coming back up. Oh, I moved the screen. Grab the other thing. Oh, there we go. That feels so much better. Oh, sheesh. Yeah, I'm looking forward to what I'm able to accomplish in 2026. I predict that I'm definitely not going to have played 45 games like I did this year. It's probably going to be about 28 again, because I'm actually going to be a lot busier. I am imagining I'm not going to spend most of the year unemployed, and I'm going to be busy with other stuff like school. So it's not going to be 45 games again. It's going to be way less. But I'm hoping that I am still able to complete at least Metal Gear Solid and some other big hitters. Because I love video games, and I love expanding my horizons, and I love having opinions on things that are relatively insignificant to most people. But they're significant to me. Anyways, that's the Yapathon, man. I don't know. How do I end these things? Merry Christmas and Happy New Year! Blah!